Happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great day. So, today we are going to just make phone calls, and I'm going to give you a new phone number to contact. So, let me make sure. Yeah, for this case, I think I just have a new number to contact. Oh, yeah, and I do have one new email and another phone number to be calling. And one second. So, make sure that if you are here in this live by now, you should have already signed and shared this petition. That's change.org/Shanquella. That's change.org/Shanquella. So make sure you have signed and shared this petition. Go ahead and press 1 in the chat. Press 1 if you have already signed this petition and shared it. Press 1 if you have already signed the Justice for Shanquella petition and shared it. Also, welcome to my new subscribers. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my channel. I'm glad you are here. That's just my Bluetooth. Ignore it. So I need everyone to sign and share this petition. I need to actually get a higher number. By now, it should already, to be honest, it should already be at 40,000 by now, based on the time frame. But trust me, 35,000 is still a good number. But I mean, by now, we should already be having way more signatures than that. So at the beginning of every live, I'm going to make sure I post this petition. Again, it's change.org/Shanquella. Change.org/Shanquella. Do I have mods here to post the link to the petition? Let me see if I have mods here. Okay, so first, since we only have a few hours before typical business hours are over, I want to make sure. And what I mean by that, I mean, it depends on where you're calling. Obviously, if you're calling in Mexico, you will have to call at a certain time. And if you're calling North Carolina, you will have to call at a certain time. Okay, so that's what I mean by time is running. And for most of you, you already know that I'm also doing another case, Jalen Lewis, which is from Mississippi. So I have to keep track of all these time zones and times. Okay, so basically, I'm just going to let me pull up. So that's Shanquella Robinson petition. And today we actually have, let me pull her up. So basically, I'm going to give commentary on Gerardo Zuniga's last video he did yesterday with Daniel De La Rosa Anaya. I'm going to give commentary on that and my opinion on that. And it's also related to the phone calls that I will be making. Okay, so her name is Dina King. Let me pull her up. Dina King from the Department of Justice. Dina King, Charlotte, North Carolina. So basically, Dina King is for Charlotte, North Carolina. Let me make sure I have her. Okay, Dina J. King is sworn in as United States Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina. The Western District of North Carolina. And that includes Charlotte, okay? That includes Charlotte, North Carolina. And it says, as you can see, it says at the bottom, let me zoom in because people be acting like they can't see. They be acting like they can't see, right? Okay, so it says U.S. Attorney King grew up in Charlotte and graduated from South Mecklenburg. Okay, that's nothing to do with that. But basically, she is for Charlotte, North Carolina, okay, from the Department of Justice. And again, the Department of Justice is involved in this as well. So now I want everyone to be, let me make sure I'm showing this because sometimes I'm talking and I'm not showing. Okay, yeah, so I'm showing. Okay. So it says Western North Carolina, and it says main office 227 West Trade Street, Suite 1650, Charlotte, North Carolina. And then it has the email address right here. So let me copy that email address. I need y'all to email this. Email this. Let me go ahead and put this up here. I'm going to post this email address. Well, actually, this is actually for the webmaster. That's not who we really would need to contact. Why would they put webmaster? Unless you send it to that person and then they give it to the right person. So anyways, I'll just go ahead and post the email address. Let's post it. Okay, so that's the email address that's right here. So y'all can email that, and I guess they will forward it to the right person. All right. Okay, and then they also have a phone number for Charlotte, which is 704-344-6222. 704-344-6222. And again, she is the one over Charlotte, North Carolina for the Department of Justice, Dina King. Okay. So that's the information I'm going to add to the petition. I'm also going to add, I already added the department. Let me make this clear. Months ago, I already added the Department of Justice. Okay. I added the Department of Justice already months ago. So this is not new. Right now, I am adding someone more specific. I'm adding someone specifically for North Carolina. So I don't want to hear people saying she's just now adding Department of Justice. No, we've been contacting the Department of Justice months ago, way at the beginning. We've already been contacting them. Right now, however, I did not go specific to. I was reading about another case, and then when I was reading about a precedented case, I realized that they had specific offices for Department of Justice for each area or district area. And I realized in the other case, which is kind of similar, I'm going to be discussing today, that they have someone specifically handling that case in a more local. So the email we had before was more direct, and then you actually send it and then they forward it or whatever else. This is actually more specific, going straight to the source. Okay. So I'm just clarifying that. We've been contacting the Department of Justice, but this is more specific. So this is for Charlotte, North Carolina. Let me type this in. Charlotte, NC. Then DOJ. I'm so used to saying DOG like a dog. DOJ, Department of Justice, and I'm gonna for North Carolina. And the person to contact is Dina. I'm just going to put this for now. Okay, so this is the email address, and then this is the phone number. So I'm going to call this number, and yeah. Where is it? And I also have another email address for Daniel De La Rosa Naya. We already have his direct one, but I have a different one too that I'm going to post today. Let's see. U.S. Attorney's Office. Yes, may I speak to Dina King? May I ask who's calling? Daniela. Okay, and what is the regards to? This is about the Shanquella Robinson case. Okay, and are you a citizen or are you? Citizen. Okay, please hold, okay? Okay.
Hi, I'm actually trying to get a hold of someone. Could you tell me your name again?
Daniela.
Daniela?
Yes.
Okay. And you just have a concern?
Yes, and questions.
Okay, please hold. Hello, hi. I'm going to transfer to one of our coordinators, okay? Please hold.
Okay.
Charlie Lloyd Robbins is not available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone. Press the pound key to end recording.
Yes, why hasn't Designated Jackson of Charlotte, North Carolina been arrested yet for the homicide of Shanquella Robinson? She has a warrant in Mexico and is wanted there. So if she has a warrant in Mexico and is wanted there, she's obviously a fugitive. And she also has family in Jamaica, and she's no longer at the residence she provided previously. So she might even be a flight risk. After all, she did flee Mexico after she murdered Shanquella Robinson. And so basically, I am wondering what's taking so long for the United States to take action on this when she is a fugitive of Mexico. And Mexico seems to be the only one speaking on this. And to be honest, they are pretty much blaming the delay on justice for Shanquella on the United States. In recent interviews, State Attorney Daniel De La Rosa Naya of Baja California Sur stated that they pretty much done their part and they're waiting on the United States. You can watch that interview with Daniel De La Rosa Naya with Gerardo Zuniga on YouTube, okay? And yeah, and another question I have is, does the U.S. plan to invoke extraterritorial jurisdiction, or are you really trying to extradite to Mexico? Are you still trying to determine what you're going to do? Because I know in some cases that have set a precedent that there was extraterritorial jurisdiction. So if anyone could please answer these questions. You can reach me back at
Thank you. To send your message, press 3 or hang up. To delete your current message, your message has been sent. To get transferred to an attendant, press 0. To access the voice portal, press the star key. To repeat this menu, press the pound key.
U.S. Attorney's Office, can I help you?
Yes, who am I speaking to? What the heck? Just hung up the phone.
U.S. Attorney's Office?
Yes. Who is Shirley Lewis? That's who you transferred me to?
Yeah, she's actually the coordinator that's working for the Shanquella Robinson case.
Oh, she's working for the Shanquella Robinson case. Oh, okay. And does she actually return phone calls or?
Yes, she does.
Does she have a direct line so no one has to actually call and just go through you to reach her?
No, you would have to call this number.
So, okay. All right. Thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know why people are not getting notifications because I have noticed that too, that people are not getting the notifications. I don't know what's going on with that at all. But I do know when you hit subscribe, make sure you actually click that set all notifications, put notifications to all. Because I think that there's a setting where you can choose like some or just select. So make sure you set notifications to all notifications for the channel. Okay, and I wonder if she has a direct email address, right? Hold on 1 second. I hate to call back, but I want to know if she has an email address. I don't see a Shirley Lewis.
U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yeah, just calling back. I just have one more question. Does she have an email address, Shirley Lewis?
We're not allowed to give out email addresses here unless it comes from the actual person.
What do you mean actual person? Oh, that she has to give me her email address.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Shirley Lewis is at the Department of Justice. She's a coordinator, and she's actually the coordinator that's assigned to Shanquella's case, okay, for the Department of Justice. And here's the thing. Okay, so they have a warrant for her in Mexico, and she basically, if someone has a warrant in Mexico, that will actually make them a fugitive from Mexico because they are wanted in Mexico, right? So basically, there is a case where, which case was it? Was it Bruce Redmond? Yeah, Bruce Redmond case from Pimp My Ride. He's like a co-producer of Pimp My Ride. Bruce Redmond had the same thing. He killed his wife in Mexico. He left Mexico in 2 days, and then he went back to the United States. He was living in the United States, free man for a long time. Mexico then filed like a provisional arrest, and then he was arrested. And then he was later extradited once all the extradition process was complete. Yeah. Okay, so anyways, everyone can call this number to apply pressure. That's the number I call for Shirley Lewis. She's the coordinator for the Department of Justice. Where is it? Banners. So that's the number right here, 704-344-6222. That's for Shirley Lewis. They will not give me her email address, okay? So if you actually want to apply pressure and like make the DOJ actually, they actually can't do a lot at the Department of Justice. They can actually invoke extra territorial jurisdiction. They have a lot of power in this situation based on what I've seen. That's why I'm posting this number. They won't give me her email address. However, I do have the email address. Wait. For the main person in charge, which is Dina King. So sometimes you might not be able to get the exact coordinator for the case of Shanquella, which is Shirley Lewis. However, let me give you the email address for Dina King. Wait, let me find it. Hold on. Where is it? I have a bunch of email addresses for her, but so it's Dina.King at usdoj.gov. So this is her email address. Hold on. Where is it? So this is DOJ. Okay, this is Dina King's email. I've already emailed already. Okay, she's over. That's who I posted earlier, right? Chia. This is Dina King. She is the U.S. Attorney's Office, Western District of North Carolina. She was sworn in on November 29, 2021 as United States Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina. Okay. And so she's basically, to me, like she's over Shirley Lewis, who is the coordinator for the Shanquella case. Okay. So obviously the Shirley Lewis would know all about this case because she's the coordinator over this case through the Department of Justice. So email Dina King, also call this number. We need answers. We demand answers, and we need someone to be freaking arrested today. And like I said, based on what the state attorney, Daniel De La Rosa Anaya, he is actually blaming the holdup on the United States. So the United States actually needs to respond back because he's calling y'all out. Daniel De La Rosa Anaya is pretty much calling out the United States on not giving him Dejanay. He knows that a lot of talking and what's keeping this all going is YouTube. That's pretty much, to me, why he came to YouTube. He knows that he goes on YouTube, he does it, and then for Gerardo Zuniga, and then the news reporters and everybody will use Gerardo's footage to spread the news about Mexico and how Mexico is blaming the United States for the holdup of not giving them Dejanay. However, based on what I've seen, let me show y'all this. Hold on. Where is it? Let me actually make some phone calls before it gets too late. Hold on. There's a lot. Where is it? It says request for a provisional arrest. It says the name of the fugitive, the case caption, date discussed with OIA. OIA is the number I gave you before, and it's under the Department of Justice. Okay. So whenever you contact them, case agent, phone number information, list of all charges, describe the fugitive, warrant information, like the docket number. That the warrant has already been applied for, right? So they already have the warrant. And then the location of the fugitive, like full address and phone number information, and the facts of the case using a narrative style provides sufficient information, including date of offense. They have that information. And then it says prosecutor certification. So this is information needed to submit a provisional arrest request. And they can actually do this provisional arrest before the extradition process is complete. But a lot of times you have to prove that a person is a flight risk. But the weird thing is, it's not really that hard to prove a flight risk based on what I've seen with the other case of Bruce Redmond, right? So to me, Bruce was actually he actually murdered his wife. He left Mexico in 2 days after he murdered his wife. And then he was living as a free man in the United States until they actually had a warrant for his arrest like a couple of months after he returned to the United States, but he wasn't arrested until like 7 months later when they filed for this provisional arrest to arrest him, and then he was later extradited, right? So that's why I said, has this step been completed by, I know that other stuff has been completed for the warrant for the arrest, but has a provisional arrest request been submitted? That's my question. So that's the question I would have for Daniel De La Rosa Naya, is has he submitted a request for a provisional arrest pending extradition? He has information that he can give to like try to say that she's a flight risk. She has relatives outside of the United States. A lot of relatives are in Jamaica. She already fled Mexico when she murdered Shanquella. She's probably, like I said, no longer living at that residence she was originally listed. So she is a flight risk in my opinion. And then where is it? It says procedure when provisional arrest is requested. Provisional arrest is appropriate when the country making a demand for extradition believes that there's a risk the fugitive will flee. Requests for a provisional arrest must be handled quickly for the United States to fulfill its treaty obligations. After receiving a request for a provisional arrest, the Office of International Affairs, OIA, contacts the prosecutor in the district where the fugitive is located. OIA provides information about the name, identity, and whereabouts of the fugitive, the crime with which he or she has been charged, the foreign warrant issued for the fugitive arrest, and the demand for provisional arrest. This information will be confirmed in writing, but in urgent cases, the prosecutor immediately drafts a complaint for provisional arrest and executed before a magistrate judge or district judge in the district where the fugitive is located. The fugitive is arrested and brought before the magistrate judge, who informs him or her of the reason for the arrest. Although the federal rules of criminal procedure expressly do not apply to extradition proceedings, this appearance is similar to a proceeding under the magistrate judge may appoint counsel for indigent fugitives, although there appears to be no basis for so doing, given the inapplicability of the rules, including which limits representation to criminal defendants. The magistrate judge may also set a hearing on bail, although the Bail Reform Act does not apply. The magistrate should schedule the hearing required under the date will be depend on the time allotted in the treaty for submission of the documents in support of the formal request, and shall allow for transmitting the documents from the Department of State to the court and council. And this is like what is this? Yeah, so to me, this can actually be filled out and filed by someone if they feel like someone could be a flight risk. Okay, so let me go ahead and call, see if I can I actually need the number for Daniel De La Rosa or someone that can actually see if he actually has done this stuff. Because it looks like once they do this step, it will actually be something that they automatically will have to comply with.
You know, this exclusive interview was recorded in Spanish, but it is subtitled in English so that our American audience can understand what we are discussing. Let's go to the interview.
El 21 de noviembre, si mal no recuerdo, del año pasado, la Procuraduría de Justicia entregó la solicitud de orden de aprehensión y con fines de extradición de la principal responsable o acusada de este feminicidio a la Fiscalía General de la República. Esta a su vez hizo entrega a petición al gobierno de Estados Unidos a través de la Secretaría de Relaciones Exteriores. ¿Cómo se va a resolver la solicitud de extradición? ¿Cuánto tiempo tarda? Y si hay un límite de tiempo.
Bueno, aquí en este caso lo que pudiera compartirles es sobre todo que se están desarrollando los protocolos y los procedimientos, sobre todo porque se trata, lo reitero, de una investigación que está siguiendo su curso y que en este sentido pues también requiere cierta cierta confidencialidad en los actos que se están desarrollando en este momento, pero sí lo que pudiéramos informarles es que las solicitudes se han realizado en base a los protocolos y que están siguiendo el curso respectivo, ¿no? Sería una vez que se tengan ya las resoluciones específicas al caso, como se está informando también los avances.
Ok. ¿Podría explicarnos en esta comunicación que ustedes tienen?
Okay, here's the information for the PGJE. This is where Daniel De La Rosa Naya is at. Okay, so let me go ahead and call this number and see if I can someone answers or not. On now, I already called a different number earlier. I've been calling other numbers before, but to be honest, it gets nowhere really. People don't really pick up the phone a lot of times. Okay, the number is 612-122-2230. Let me go down. I want to know. A lot of times I think out loud, so a lot of times I'm just thinking out loud. Okay, so I want to know if he has actually filed for this, because in that Bruce Redmond case, he was not arrested. He was free, just like Dejanay Manhan Jackson. He was free in the United States until Mexico. They filed the warrant, but he was still free. And then they filed a provisional arrest months later. And then he was finally arrested, healed on provisional arrest until the extradition was complete. And they said that before they wanted him arrested because they thought he was a flight risk before extradition would be complete. And then the United States had to go arrest him. But other than that, he was still a walking man free. And it was obvious evidence that he had murdered his wife. Obvious evidence. Wait. 612-122.
Power off.
Okay, well, April, she could leave. She could still, a flight risk is still someone that can go anywhere in the United States. Somebody can still be on the run. That's still a flight risk. They might not go overseas, but they definitely can go somewhere and hide out. But yeah, Bruce was actually allowed to leave Mexico. They said for him to stay, but he was actually allowed to. He actually left Mexico. And that's why they had to try to get him extradited. And we don't even know if the red file is actually complete. The red alert through Interpol. Hello? Hey, Sarah Real Talk. Hey, everyone just joining. Okay, this is the number I'm calling from this website, and no one is picking up. Okay, make sure y'all hit the like button to get this video into the algorithm. It's free to hit the like button. Okay. It's weird, but it's not ringing, but it still says calling. That's weird. Let me try one more time. Hold on. Okay, again, this is for Daniel De La Rosa Naya, the office you're supposed to call for him. I know Gerardo has his number, but obviously he's not going to give it to me. Okay. Hey, mods. Hey, mods. Hey, Marie. Hey, April. I think I said hey, April. Well, there's two Maries here. So Universal T with Marie and Marie. Hey, Dukes, Tribal, Ribka. Hey, Brenda. No, I think that both sides still need to be applied pressure to both sides because it's not over yet until she gets justice. There's still stuff that Mexico can do, in my opinion. The reason I know is because Quintana Roo, like I said, when Bruce killed his wife in Quintana Roo, they were really on top of it, and they made sure that his butt was extradited back to there. They actually did the arrest warrant just like Daniel De La Rosa Naya, but then they also later on they did a provisional arrest request, right? Well, they were kind of slacking too, but they did get him extradited back to Quintana Roo. So I do believe that Mexico and United States, they both can still be doing things. So both need to be applied pressure still. Yep. Okay, so well, I don't know if he has done this provisional arrest, but I doubt it because if a provisional arrest was done, she'll already be arrested already. A request for it, should I say. Okay, here's a number right here. I don't know what this says if someone speaks Espanol, but I did call this number before, but I'm going to call it again because that's the only time I actually got a hold of anybody. 612-114-5330. What the heck? Yes, I need someone. Do you speak English?
Permítame un momento, por favor. Hi.
Yes, I talked to you before, but you had hung up on me. You hung up the phone on me?
I already talked with the attorney that is taking your case, but they cannot give information on the telephone. Somebody has to come over here to check the case, and it has to be family of the person, not a friend.
I'm not calling for personal information. I'm calling for general information. And this is the Office of Complaints, right? If I wanted to file a complaint against a public official or a public office or entity.
If you want to make a complaint, you need a translator because I speak English, but I cannot translate the call. You need to make a right and bring it here with a translator and in Spanish.
Okay. Do you have an email that I can email address I can email you my complaint or a form or online form?
Okay.
What is your email address for that? So I can make a complaint through email or a form.
It's
O.
I.
Okay.
I.
Mm-hmm.
C. Arroba.
Can you repeat that?
The A that's in the circle. I don't know how to say it in English.
Oh, at sign.
At sign, yeah.
Okay.
T.
Okay.
T.
Okay.
Wait a minute. J.
Okay.
P. B. C. S.
Okay.
Dot. GOB. Dot MX.
Okay. So let me clarify. OIC.
It's only one O and only one I.
Okay, so OIC.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course the PGJEBCS dot GOB as in boy dot MX.
Yeah, that's the email.
And what does OIC stand for?
In Spanish, it's órgano interno de control.
Okay. All right. And who can I talk to about a suggestion I have? Like I have a suggestion for how we can get Dejanay Jackson arrested. Because I don't who do I talk to with a suggestion?
You have to see that with the attorney that's taking the case. And the attorney has to tell the attorney that's taking the case what he can do to arrest the person you're saying.
So if I have an attorney call and then they suggest to Daniel De La Rosa Naya that how they can be arrested, then they'll probably consider it.
You can do it in a right that you send to the attorney. You can put it in the email that you send here. And we can show your email to the person, and they're gonna tell us if they can do it or if they cannot do it.
Oh, so if I send an email to you, you will get it to Daniel De La Rosa Anaya.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you.
I will go ahead and send an email to you later today.
Okay. We're gonna reply to you if we receive it.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so basically he's not giving me Daniel De La Rosa Anaya obviously directly because that is like a official, right? However, he said that if I email that email address, he will forward that or show him what I sent, right? So basically my suggestion is to see if they can actually, I'm telling you, I've been looking at this Bruce Redmond case, and he murdered his wife. He fled Mexico. He left Mexico in 2 days. He lived in the United States free as a free man for a long time, even though he had a warrant in Mexico. And I was like, how is this possible? And it was obvious that he killed his wife in Mexico. It was obvious. They had put a warrant off his arrest just like they did with Dejanay. However, he was still walking as a free man until November. And in November, he killed his wife in April 2010. He was living as a free man all the way until November when they did a provisional arrest request. They filled out that form. So the first warrant didn't work. Even though it was like he was still wanted in Mexico, he wasn't arrested until they did a provisional request. So my thing is, has Daniel De La Rosa did the same thing? He has already stated that he did the initial arrest warrant, okay? And then he also stated that he filed for extradition through Interpol for the red file and extradition. However, I have not heard him say that he has also filed paperwork for a provisional request pending extradition. And trust me, if you are not witty. Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. I'm sitting here talking to myself. Y'all, I'm sitting here talking to myself. So I'm sitting here talking to myself. Wow, I'm not repeating all that. I was talking to myself. This is crazy. Okay, so I guess, hey, Keith, if you're out there, I'm like the new mute king. Our queen, should I say. Okay, so basically, I need y'all to call the number on here at 704-344-6222. That's to get a hold of Dina King, who is at the Department of Justice, right? So that's for her number. And you can also speak to Miss Lewis. Did I say Shirley Lewis? There's so many names. I swear it's too many names adding up now. Shirley Lewis, who is actually the coordinator for Shanquella's case at the Department of Justice. Apply pressure. Are on the petition. I already have the email address for the FBI, who I also emailed today. I already have that information for the FBI. So apply pressure. But let me tell you this. For the Bruce Redmond case, that's a good comparison because he was in Mexico. He killed his wife. He left Mexico after 2 days, even though they told him not to leave. He left Mexico in 2 days, right? After 2 days, he left, went back to the United States. He lived his life as a free man with his children at home. The FBI did not go arrest him. It was obvious evidence and obvious proof that he had murdered his wife in Mexico, but they did not go arrest him or do anything. And then Mexico actually put a warrant out for his arrest, just like they did Dejanay Manhan Jackson. The FBI put a warrant out for his arrest. However, he had got an attorney, and he refused to turn himself in to Mexico. He just lived his life as a free man. Finally, Mexico actually did what they call a provisional arrest request. They submitted a provisional arrest request, and then once they submitted that and it was actually approved or whatever, then they finally arrested him in November. So he killed his wife in April, and he wasn't arrested until November. He killed his wife in April. Let me pull up the case. Hold on. Where is it? Okay, Bruce Redmond. It says on April 8th, 2010, Redmond's wife, Monica, was found dead while they were on holiday in Cancun, Mexico. Monica had been strangled and her body dumped in a sewer near the Moon Palace Resort where the family had been staying. Again, Redmond is the co-producer of the Pimp My Ride show, the old show. Later on, the day of the murder, Redmond was detained and questioned by police as a person of interest in his wife's death. He was released by police during the early morning hours of April 8th on condition that he should not leave Mexico while the investigation to his wife's death remained ongoing. So he was a person of interest in his wife's death. He was released by police during the early morning hours of April 8th on condition that he should not leave Mexico until the investigation into his wife's death remained ongoing. Two young British tourists staying at the hotel reported that they had heard the couple arguing in their room on April 4th. Redmond was also reportedly seen with scratches on his hands and the back of his neck. Monica's cause of death was determined to be suffocation, so she was suffocated. Since his passport had been retained by the Mexican authorities when he was arrested, Redmond illegally left Mexico by crossing the border using his driver's license as identification and taking a train to Los Angeles. On May 31st, 2010, Mexico issued a arrest warrant for Redmond in connection with the murder of his wife, while Mexican prosecutors initiated extradition proceedings to return him to Mexico for trial. So as you can see, he murdered his wife, I think it was around in April, right? So he murdered his wife in April, early April. And then a little over a month later, don't it sound familiar? A little over a month later, on May 31st, 2010, Mexico issued an arrest warrant for his arrest. Okay. However, he still lived in Los Angeles with his children, living as a free man all the way from that moment on, from April when he came back to the United States, all the way until November. So he came back to the United States in April, and then like a month and a half later, just like with Daniel De La Rosa Naya, Quintana Roo had issued a warrant for his arrest in May 31st, 2010 in Mexico. So remember, Dejanay is the same process because they issued a warrant for her arrest too in Mexico, right? And then he lived as a free man, even though there was a lot of evidence and proof that he murdered his wife. It was video footage of him leaving the hotel. It was like, well, actually, I'm getting the cases mixed up. There's two cases, so I'm not going to give too many details because I want to get it crossed. I'm just going to keep on to this, okay? So anyways, there's plenty of evidence of him killing his wife, okay? And it says arrest. So it says arrest on November 16, 2010. So he was, even though he had a warrant for his arrest in Mexico on May 31st, 2010, issued by the state attorney of the Quintana Roo, he was still free in the United States, a free man, like he didn't do anything. The family of the victim was actually complaining and like, why is he still walking out here free when he has a warrant for his arrest in Mexico? And that's what we are doing. We're like, why is Dejane out here free when she has a warrant in Los Cabos, right, in Mexico? So it's the same thing. And then finally on November 16, 2010, a CNN reporter stated that Redmond had been arrested by U.S. Marshals. So the U.S. Marshals in Los Angeles, using a warrant from Mexico on November 29, 2010, a Los Angeles federal judge denied his request for bail. And then that happened later on. So let me tell you, the reason he was arrested is because they had a provisional arrest warrant. A provisional arrest request was submitted by Mexico. So their first warrant did not work. Like that first one they did in May 2010, just like the one that Daniel De La Rosa did, it did not work because he was still a free man walking around. He was still at home with his children, right? Even though that was clear that he murdered his wife in Mexico. And the family was wondering why he was still out here free when he had a warrant in Mexico. He even knew about his warrant, but obviously he didn't want to turn himself in. His attorney was like, why did Mexico even issue a warrant for his arrest? And then finally, later, I don't know the exact time, but they did a provisional request for his arrest. And that's when he was finally arrested, even though the extradition wasn't really complete. And then finally, the extradition on July 12, 2011, U.S. Magistrate Jacqueline Chujin, or whatever her name is, determined that Redmond should be sent to Mexico because there was enough circumstantial evidence to show probable cause that he might have murdered his wife. U.S. prosecutors had reviewed the case made by Mexican authorities and deemed sufficient evidence to show possible motives for him to have killed his wife, including collecting insurance money, getting sole custody of children, and continuing an extramarital affair. Redmond waived further appeals and was extradited to Mexico on February 8, 2012. So this is like, he wasn't even extradited. The U.S. didn't really approve it to be sent to Mexico. They still had him on that provisional arrest warrant, okay? And they didn't give him a bail on it because of everything that was submitted. But that extradition wasn't until like over a year after he killed his wife. But he was locked up from that November time period because of that provisional arrest warrant, right? Yeah. So that was it. So then he wasn't even convicted till later on, but he only served about 7.5 years of that 12-year sentence. But the main thing we need to keep in mind about this case for comparison is this. He left Mexico and he lived in the United States free, like a free man, even though Mexico had a warrant for his arrest. Okay, so he killed his wife in April. He lived as a free man all the way until November 16, 2010. Even though Mexico had put out a warrant for him in May 31st, 2010, he was still living as a free man. That sounds all familiar, right? We're like, I bet the family, like I saw the family was like, why is he still out here free when he killed my sister, right? He was still at home with his children like he didn't kill his wife. All the way from April all the way into November. And look at the court documents for this because it will show you that to get that provisional arrest warrant, they used that he wasn't a trustworthy person due to him like having extramarital affairs, and also that he posed like a flight risk. And then that's how they got that provisional arrest warrant, okay? And then on top, okay, so that's let me go ahead and post this link. So that's the Bruce Redmond case. So this is the Bruce Redmond case. And then there's another case. Okay, so in this case, this shows that he killed his wife in Mexico. He came back to the United States and they extradited him, okay? The United States finally extradited him over a year later. But he was arrested before that time period under provisional arrest because a request had been submitted. Okay, so Mexico had submitted a request, so he wasn't out here just living free. If they didn't submit that provisional request for his arrest, he would have been free until the whole extradition completed. That's why I said, has he actually, Daniel De La Rosa Knight, has he actually submitted this provisional request? I'm sure that he can try to word it a certain way to make it so that he can submit that document or submit that request for Dejanae to be arrested under the same thing, right? I mean, she did the same thing he did. She fled Mexico after she know that she didn't tell the full truth of what happened, right? So there's a way that someone can really word it well to get that provisional request submitted. Because the extradition can take a while based on even this. For this Redmond case, it shows the extradition process can take a while for the U.S. to go over all the evidence and see all sufficient evidence. And so basically, in the meantime, try to get a provisional arrest pending extradition. So there's another case. Where is it? So there's another case with Matthew Taylor Coleman. Matthew Taylor Coleman killed his two children. He says killed a 2-year-old boy and 10-month-old girl on Monday. It was on a Monday. And he was charged with, in this case, okay, even though he took the children from the United States, went to Mexico, he killed his 2 children from some weird conspiracy beliefs he had, right? So even though he did that, the United States took over this case. Now, let me tell you this. Mexico wanted Matthew Taylor Coleman to be extradited back to Mexico. They were planning on trying to get him extradited back to Mexico to be tried in Mexico. However, in this case, the FBI took over, United States took over this case and tried him in the United States under extraterritorial jurisdiction. So that's why I said it can go either way. And trust me, even though Mexico can say, well, we want the person to be tried in Mexico because it's on our soil and it's our territory. Well, under extraterritorial jurisdiction, there are ways that they can go bypass that, and the United States can actually take over. And that's because it's a lot of things that go into it. But a lot of times, if even just the defendant is a national of the United States, they can take over the case. And as you can see, it says it happened in Mexico. So he took his 2 children from the United States. He murdered them in Mexico. He came back to the United States. He actually confessed. So this is not a good comparison as far as the comparing to Shanquella case, okay? The reason I say that is because in this case, he actually confessed to killing his 2 children and said it was some kind of weird conspiracy beliefs. So he confessed to murder. And let's see. And there was like and on this case, there was collaboration to investigate this. So it was Mexico along with like the border. It says right here, let's see. So there was collaboration on this case as well. And as you see at the bottom, it says United States Attorney's Office, and it says U.S. DOJ. So that's the Department of Justice. That's why I said that's the information I posted for Charlotte, North Carolina, Department of Justice at the bottom right here, okay? And then we have, let's see here. Hold on 1 second. Where's that case? Is this one? So, okay, here's the one I want you to look at. It says, it says, okay, after further investigation, FBI agents took Coleman into custody at the San Cedro point of entry. Okay, so basically, they basically caught him at the border, like coming back into the United States, okay? It says, according to the affidavit, the same phone locating service was used on Monday and showed that Coleman's phone was near the San Cedro point of entry at the U.S.-Mexico border. According to the affidavit, the FBI dispatched colleagues in San Diego to contact Coleman, who entered the United States in the Sprinter van without the children. When the children were not found, FBI agents contacted law enforcement officials in Rosarito and learned that Mexican authorities that morning had recovered the bodies of 2 children matching the description of Coleman's children. So the children were murdered in Mexico, and of course their bodies were left in Mexico. And actually a farmer or someone found the children's body, and when he found the bodies, he cried. He said he cried about it, and he also later took like two crosses to this where he found the children, like as a memorial, right? That was sweet. So after further investigation, FBI agents took Coleman into custody at the San Cedro port of entry. The FBI, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and the Santa Barbara Police Department are investigating this matter. The Santa Barbara County District Attorney's Office provided substantial assistance throughout the investigation. And pay attention to this. It says the Department of Justice gratefully acknowledges the government of Mexico to include the Fiscalía General del Estado de Baja California and the Secretaría de Seguridad Pública Municipal de Rosarito for their extraordinary efforts, support, and cooperation during the investigation. So basically, they're just like buttering them up and saying, thank you for all your efforts and your support and your cooperation during the whole investigation, right? And you know that Mexico wanted to have Matthew Taylor Coleman extradited for this murder because he killed those 2 children in Mexico and they wanted him extradited. However, this is what the response was. After reviewing the case, let me zoom in so people can see. Okay, this line right here, I have my mouse, so that's where they thank them, basically just getting them prepared for what's coming next. It says, after reviewing the case, the United States determined that the most appropriate venue was in the Southern District of California. Assistant U.S. Attorney Peter Cole of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of California and Special Assistant U.S. Attorneys Kevin Butler, Joanna Curtis, and Billy Joe McLean of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California are prosecuting this case. Ooh. So they did give thanks to Mexico for their full cooperation and efforts and support during investigation and collaboration. However, they said after reviewing the case, they are invoking extraterritorial jurisdiction over the case. So we don't care if y'all want him to be extradited, because after reviewing the case, they have determined that this United States will be the appropriate venue for the case, right? And it says defendant Matthew Taylor Coleman, age 40, Santa Barbara, California. Summary of charges, Title 18, United States Code, Section 1119, foreign first-degree murder of U.S. nationals. Maximum penalty, death or life, and a fine of up to $250,000. And it says agencies, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, United States Customs and Border Protection, because he was caught at the border, okay? Santa Barbara Police Department. The charges and allegations, okay, and that's just showing that. So basically, even though Mexico wanted him to be extradited, they actually didn't give time to do the extradition paperwork or anything because it was so fast and he had confessed the murder. However, they had already stated in press conferences and releases that they were planning on extraditing him back to Mexico. However, after reviewing the case, as you see in the United States, that they were going to invoke the extraterritorial jurisdiction over this and charge him with foreign first-degree murder of U.S. nationals. So it can go either way with this case, where with the case of Bruce Redmond, they actually extradited back to Mexico. And then in this case, which is actually not all the way good comparing to Coleman because he confessed the murder, they actually took over this case and they did not extradite. Okay? So the United States sometimes they will extradite and sometimes they will take over the case. So no one can, okay, let me go to Gerardo's interview because he's pretty much saying he's pretty much stating like, oh, Daniel De La Rosa Naya said it will be tried in Mexico. However, he doesn't even know himself, because the United States have shown that even when Mexico has wanted someone to be extradited and tried in Mexico, the United States has said, thank you very much for your help and your cooperation and your assistance and your efforts and contributions. But after reviewing the case, we have decided that this will be the appropriate venue. So it can go either way, depending on how the United States wants to do it. They can extradite after collaborating on efforts and contributions, or they can invoke extraterritorial jurisdiction. So it can go either way. So I can go ahead and let me see if there's anyone else I need to call, because let's see what time it is. Let me go ahead and put this up first. I need to go through some comments. So basically, let me see. Hold on. Wait. Where's that email address? Okay, so let me go ahead and post this link. So basically what you can do is look at these cases. There's a lot of information for these cases, but I think the best comparison is the Redmond case, because you would think that after he murdered his wife in Mexico and fled back here, they gave a warrant. They issued a warrant for his arrest, but he was still living as a free man in the United States, even though he had a warrant in Mexico. And think about it as comparison. Dejanay has a arrest warrant in Mexico, but she's still living as a free woman over here in the United States. So they're still the same thing. And then if Mexico had not applied for a provisional arrest warrant or arrest, right? Redmond would have been actually living as a free man for a way longer than that. He would have not been until his extradition paperwork were complete. So it would have been like over a year and a half of him living as a free man, if not for them doing a provisional arrest warrant, right? So that's why I said, if y'all can contact this email address and make sure and see if Daniel De La Rosa Naya has applied for this provisional arrest warrant request. Because usually when that's filed or applied for. All right, thank you, Anita. Thank you for being on top of it. Okay, I need to go through these comments to get that email address he just gave me. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, so this email address right here is for, I'm actually going to email them my suggestion for Daniel De La Rosa Naya. He said that whenever he get emails, he will actually show whoever you're talking about. This is actually a complaint email. Let me tell you, this is actually like he said, complaints, I guess, for public officials or something. I don't know. I don't speak Espanol. I think someone translated. Thank you, Sarah. She says, okay, thank you. All I know is he said is that whatever I email, he will actually show him. So that's good enough for me right now. Well, if he actually does it, well, he sounds like he would do it. Okay, so I'm gonna email him my suggestions now. I don't know if this is actually will work or not, but that's the only thing I saw when I compared the cases, is that even though Redmond had killed his wife and he fled Mexico, and then they also issued a warrant for his arrest in Mexico, he was still a free man until they had that provisional warrant request was submitted and saying that he was a flight risk or whatever, right? Do I have that with me? Wait, hold on. Do I have that document? Let me check real fast. If I don't, then I'm just going to go to the next thing. No, that's not it. Well, maybe this is the link. Hold on. Okay. So basically, they were saying that it says Redmond offers considerable evidence in support of his contention that he is neither a flight risk nor a danger to the community. For example, he is a United States citizen and has resided in the Los Angeles area for more than 10 years. Since the death of his wife in April, he has openly resided in his family home with his 2 children and parents. So there you go, right? So since the death of the murder of his wife, since the death of his wife in April, he stated that he has openly resided in his family home with his 2 children and parents. See what I mean? He murdered his wife in April, and he was still living as a free man at home with his family home with his 2 children and parents. See? So you would think like, oh my gosh, he murdered his wife in Mexico and there was evidence of it and everything, right? But he fled back to the United States and he was still living openly in his family home with his children. So he was using that as an example why he's not a flight risk. And we are saying the same thing, like, why is Dejanay free, right? And now you can see this man murdered his wife and he was walking around free in the United States after he fled Mexico. And he also said that he is the one that alerted Mexican authorities to his wife's disappearance, and that he cooperated with Mexican police in their efforts to locate her and investigate her murder. Child, there's a lot of people that kill people when they try to help with. I have known people that I've seen, not known personally, but they have actually went on searches to find the remains of people, and they are the ones that actually killed the person. So that's not nothing. He basically said that he was allowed to leave Mexico. So these are just his excuses of why he fled. I'm trying to actually find the part where they counter him with evidence of why he is a flight risk. Hold on. He also stated that the children need a parent, so it's also not good to arrest him under that provisional arrest, right? Is this the right document? And then basically said that Redmond's children's need for their father does not qualify as a special circumstance. On that one. It also says Redmond's character evidence does not qualify as a special circumstance in favor of Bell. And let's go now. Basically, they end up denying his bail for that, but hold on. Is this the right document? Hold on. Let's see. All right, I think this is one part of it. Hold on, let me scroll down. It says, as noted above, the evidence regarding Redmond's character and trustworthiness is disputed. Although friends and family aver that he could be trusted to remain in the United States. The complaint alleges that Redmond was unfaithful to his wife, a fact which suggests a lack of trustworthiness. Although Redmond could return to Mexico and voluntarily surrender, he has not done so. He is a well-educated and sophisticated individual facing serious charges in a foreign country. The court finds that Redmond has both incentive and ability to flee. Accordingly, the court finds that Redmond presents a flight risk. So see, they based on like to see if his character and like trustworthiness, it says even just for him like having like extramarital affair, it says Redmond was unfaithful to his wife, a fact which suggests a lack of trustworthiness, right? So that's the way that they can prove that he's not trustworthy, is that the fact that he was unfaithful to his wife. And the second one is that he refused to voluntarily surrender himself to Mexico. He already had a warrant for his arrest, and he like Dejane has, right? And she refuses to like voluntarily surrender herself to Mexico, just like he refused to surrender himself to that initial warrant. And Daniel De La Rosa Nayas keeps saying over and over, and I know Dejane, I know you heard him. He said you have a warrant for your arrest in Mexico. So why haven't you turned yourself in, voluntarily surrendered yourself to Mexico? Why are you still hiding out in the United States like Redmond was doing, right? So the fact that you're not voluntarily surrendering yourself to Mexico, and you also have omitted facts about what happened to Shanquella. You said it was alcohol poisoning, even though you know you're over there brutally attacking her, right? So you lack trust. No one can really trust you. You also have, according to some people, that you're no longer at that residence that you gave. You also changed your phone number. So you're a person that, to me, would pose a flight risk. You actually, of course, not literally take a flight if her passport has been taken or whatever, if it has. However, she could flee in other ways. Like United States is big. Come on now. She can go. The United States is big, so it's plenty of places she can hide all that, and she has proven that by leaving that residence and everything else. And she also has proven that she's not a trustworthy person by omitting facts of what happened to Shanquella. If y'all come back to the United States and said there was no fighting, okay, and then there was, that's omission. So you're not trustworthy. So to me, just like with with this case, and it says it is ordered that the United States motion for detention is granted. He should be held without bail. So they did not give him bail for that when he got that provisional arrest. So yeah, so I really don't think a lot is being done on both ends for United States and Mexico. To me, I think there's a way for her to be arrested now, just like he was arrested. So if he was arrested, a provisional arrest was made for him. Why can't there be a provisional arrest made for Dejane? That's my question. And I want an answer. So that's why I'm going to email and see what answer I get. So why she can't be arrested now under provisional arrest like Redmond? What's the difference? What's the difference? Of course, that it was probably more evidence, right? But a provisional arrest is just that. It's provisional. So let me go ahead and read some comments, and then let me get to Gerardo's video. But pay attention when we watch Gerardo's video that he states that it's 100%, like he's making it seem like it's 100% that she will be extradited to Mexico and tried in Mexico. But as I have shown with these two cases, it can go either way. And that sometimes, even though there's collaboration, contributions and efforts and everything else working together, at the end, after FBI reviews all evidence and reviews everything, they can invoke extraterritorial jurisdiction and say that the United States is appropriate venue for the case. So you never know. So I'll go ahead and play a snippet of his interview after I read some comments to see what your thoughts are. And y'all, so basically I have another case, Jalen Lewis, and I'm working on that as well. So I've been really, really busy because I have to make a lot of phone calls with that as well. And trust me, that case, wow, it's a lot to that case, so much to that case. And I knew it would be a lot, but wow, it's really a lot. So someone else messaged me about something else, and I'm like, to be honest, my plate is full with my personal life and 2 cases with Shanquella and Jalen Lewis. I don't have time for any other cases right now outside of my my sleep is already on a low percentage, so I can't add anything else to my plate at this moment. That doesn't mean I don't care about other people. Obviously I do. That means that I cannot. There's already a lot to do already. And sometimes when people overextend themselves, or they add too much to their plate, and then they'll start slacking on one of the cases, or they'll start slacking on what they're doing, and then that's not really fair to the victims for you to be slacking. So I prefer not to add any more people or cases. Yeah. So I'm just gonna stick to Jalen Lewis and Shanquella, and also Sensei. Well, Sensei is not really one I really completely added. When I add a case, it's usually when I do a petition, like if I make a petition for it or something. Okay, so let me go ahead and read comments. Just a second. Okay, thank you for signing and share the petition. Well, for this right here, Bossy, where's Bossy? Hey, Bossy. So basically, I wonder if she doesn't have a direct number, what number does the colleagues call her on or transfer them to? She has one, but they're basically saying that they are not giving it out to the public. And remember, a lot of these people are government officials, so they're not really going to be giving out just their number all willy-nilly to just anybody. Some people are cuckoo and crazy out here. Oh yeah, no, people are not getting notifications. I can really tell. I don't know why. It could be because when I share posts, it could count as a notification. I don't know. But I didn't really get notifications unless when someone posts a post, unless it's like a membership post. I don't know why y'all haven't got notifications. But maybe you have to turn your notification bell on. Have y'all turned your notification bell on? If you're just a subscriber, then you might not get all notifications. But if you have your notification bell turned on, you'll get all notifications. Yeah, this is another person. They are not notifying me when you go live. I just had to keep clicking on the notify me button, and you had already started. Yeah, go ahead and make sure you hit the notification bell like on my channel. There's a channel setting that you subscribe to all my notifications for my channel, okay? Hey, dudes. Hey, Mama for her babies, Susan. So a lot of people came out the bushes today. Hey, baby Shay. Yes, Hunter. Yes. Thank you for continuously covering the Shanquella Robinson case. Of course, I definitely will be. I already said from day one. Well, not day one, but unlike some people out here that flip flop, I'm already gonna be justice for Shanquella and team Shanquella from the jump. No flip flop and no fakery. Okay. Hey Pamela, Miss Tina. Okay, so I think that those are the calls I needed to make. I was trying to get number one. I wanted to contact Daniel De La Rosa. Oh, I wanted to see if I can get a hold of Victor Castro, which I doubt, but I'll try. So Victor Castro is the last call I need to try to make for today. And I'm going to send out an email with more contacts. Hey, Della. Hey, Wyan, Leslie, Bobby Ruffin. I think I already said these people earlier. I said y'all already. Okay, make sure y'all hit that like button now. Hunty, yas, Hunty, yas. Wait. Yes, this is how you can support the family. I have some updates for Jalen Lewis case. I have some updates for the case, but so I have updates for the Jalen Lewis case. I've been making phone calls, a lot of phone calls, and it's still a lot of just cover up and everything going on that. Y'all, it's just a mess. A mess. It's like some progress, but because they are like feeling the heat of everything, and they're feeling the heat of all the emails and calls and everything else, but they're still trying to cover up, if you get what I mean. So they're trying to do something, but a little something just to try to appease, but it's not enough. They're still covering up, even though they're doing something. I thought her passport already, oh, he already said that. Thanks for translating, Sarah, too. Friends or haters in the bushes, thank you for the click and the view. Since you are here watching, listening, the least you can do is hit the like button. Yes, Hunter, yes. Go ahead and hit the like button. So yeah, ooh. Justice is coming for our beautiful sister Shanquella Robinson and the entire Robinson family and friends. Justice for Shanquella, yes. Keep hashtagging that on all platforms. Hey, Cleveland Brown. When nature calls, there's something both sides can do. They are lagging. They need to step it up on both sides. Yes, I agree. Both sides can. I agree, Danny. Because of our disadvantage, we have to stay on it. Yes, we definitely have to stay on it. Yeah, they need to, because like I said, pay attention. Go read this Redmond case, right? He even said himself, he was like kind of like saying, yeah, I'm not a flight risk. Like, even though I like my wife's death, well, murder in April, I'm still at home with my 2 children and my parents. So I'm not on the run or trying to leave. So he's saying that he's not a flight risk. So I'm like, well, that just tells what everyone is saying, that you're still out here a free man after you killed your wife in Mexico, right? And then finally, they did like a provisional arrest warrant request, and then he was arrested pending extradition. And the extradition didn't happen until like a year and a half, almost like a year and a half later, after he murdered his wife. So that can take a while. So in the meanwhile, shoot, they need to do this provisional thing that they did with him. That's what I'm saying. Now, I don't know technically if that can work or not, but why not? So let someone can tell me. Deborah Person, good afternoon. To tell Dani, thank you on, girl. Thanks for sharing receipts. So glad you calling and checking. God bless you. This is not easy. You working hard to get to the bottom. Yeah, so definitely now I have been calling an email before, but I don't record everything. But since I've been calling other people, I decided to go ahead and call and check on something else again today. As you saw, like, as you heard, I said, you hung up on me. Like, people keep hanging up on me. So he realized that I was like, yeah, he knew he had hung up on me, right? I was like, you hung up on me before. So basically that was like telling him, like, look, that was rude of you. Don't hang up on me again. That's rude. So yeah, that's the email address. I'm going to start this because that's the email address to get information to Daniel De La Rosa Naya that you want him to see. So we can all email that so he can get messages. Oh, I should actually email right now before y'all all flood it, because I don't want to get buried. But okay, let's see. Geez, I'm late. We'll finish watching and catch the replay. Yeah, hit that team replay. Okay, and that's the department. Who is this? That's the department that he works at. I guess it's like where you can submit, from my understanding, I guess, submit complaints about people. I'm not gonna 100% confirm, but I know something about complaints. Okay. I'm not getting that. Where is it? That's weird. I don't know who that is. Why is this popping up? lawyer, what last checked was Sue Ann Robinson. Good information to the email. Yes, that's good information. Seems like that man spoke and understand English very well. Well, I don't know, because some people know certain words, but not enough. Because he didn't even know like the at symbol, like we say at. Yeah, that's when I was child. I need to I'm glad. I don't know what y'all all missed because I was on mute for a minute. Thanks to Dani, Maza, and those in the chat who have been working diligently to ensure that justice for Shanquella transpires. Yes, auntie, yes. We have all been working and emailing. There are so many people. Like, I made a post the other day, and there was like a lot of people under it, like done, like check, auntie, check. So y'all, a lot of y'all are emailing on top of it, and I bet some people have already emailed that email I just posted from that guy, right? Shoot, before I even get off this live, y'all already on it, emailing already, right? All right, so yeah, that was a time when I was mute and silent. Y'all, it's all wonderful. We all are fighting for justice for beautiful sister Shanquella Robinson and learning at the same time to fight for justice in Mexico and America. Exactly. Like, trust me, by the end of this, like, child, I will know so much about Mexico. The fight continues. Yes, it does. The Mexican government knows what they should be doing. Yeah, to me, this is obvious, but the thing is this. I don't know, because look, with the Bruce Redmond case, he was a free man living at home with his 2 children and his parents. Free. Go listen to the sister. Like, the victim's sister was complaining, and the victim's family was complaining, like, he murdered our sister, he murdered our family, and he's out here a free man living with his children. Like, is he even safe to be around the children at home with the 2 children and the grandparents, right? His parents. He was a free man. And Mexico had issued a warrant, just like Dejane has a warrant. He had one too early on. So he murdered his wife in April, and then in May, like a month and a half later, right, they put a warrant for his arrest in Mexico. And then they did the same thing Daniel did. They did the arrest warrant, and they tried to apply for extradition. He was still walking around as a free man until they did something which is called a provisional request, our provisional warrant request. And that there, I showed you at the beginning of the slide, you didn't see it. It's called provisional warrant request or something like that. And once they submitted that, proving that he is a flight risk and isn't trustworthy and a flight risk or whatever else, that provisional arrest warrant was approved, and he was immediately arrested. Well, I don't know about immediately, but he was arrested. And then he wasn't extradited until the following year, like I think July 2012, like almost a year and a half after he killed his wife. Well, not a year and a half, maybe a year and 3 months or so, right? So that proves that you can still have an arrest warrant in Mexico and still be in the United States as a free person, even though the arrest warrant in Mexico is murder. Femicide, homicide, murder. You can still be a free person if you get your ass back to the United States. So he was free. And do I have it? I don't think I have it with me, because to be honest, I have like too many articles. But there was one article where the family was like, it's been 7 months and he's still out here free after he killed my sister or something like that. And that's what we're saying. It's been all this time, and she's still out here free after she killed Shanquella. And then they were like, well, he has a warrant in Mexico and he's still out here free. And that's what we're saying. Well, she has a warrant in Mexico and she's still out here free. And the only thing changed was that a provisional arrest warrant was applied for, and then it was approved, and then he was arrested pending extradition. So that's what I'm saying. Has that step been done? Yes or no? Dani, I just emailed Dina King. I already read that one. Hey, Miss Matthews. So they may be getting her soon, hopefully. Well, I don't know. But I do know if someone has a warrant for their arrest and then they are not turning themselves in, then that makes them a fugitive. Unless I'm missing something here. What's up, Dani in chat? Hey, Easy Rider. And that's what happened with Redmond, right? And then they applied for a provisional arrest warrant, and then he was arrested, and then even though he was arrested and he tried to get out of that provisional arrest, he tried to get out on bail or whatever. They denied it. They denied his request. Excellent case law, example research, great work, Dani. Yes, auntie, yes. I wanted to see with the Redmond case, basically that someone can murder someone, come back to the United States, and still walk around as a free man, free woman, free man, Jackson, whatever, right? They could still come back to the United States and walk around as a free person after committing murder in Mexico. And that's what happened with Redmond. He was a free man walking around here until they did that provisional arrest, and then he was arrested. I'm good. Tired, but good. Okay. How's it going for you? Okay, please sign a petition. That's change.org/Shanquella. Change.org/Shanquella. I don't understand how they allowed themselves to get into this predicament. Well, I have seen some things, and let me tell you, for Dejanay, the apple don't fall too far from the tree, and that's all I'm going to say. Yeah. Friends are haters in the bushes. Thank you for the click and the view. Since you are watching, listening, at least you can do is hit the like button. Yes, hit that like button. All right, yeah, I'm tired. I need to get off here. I've already was tired before I even got on here. I'm tired. But I definitely want to go over Gerardo's video since I already put it in the title. It is inexcusable it's taking this long for progress on this case. They have video evidence of what happened, not supposition or assumptions, but hardcore evidence. Yes, but they had to think about this. That Redmond case, there was a lot of evidence as well for him murdering his wife, right? Well, to me, it was enough evidence to show that he murdered his wife, but it still took a while. And remember, once they finally did it, they said there was enough evidence to find probable cause, and they finally approved the United States to extradite him in July of 2012, even though he killed his wife in April 2010. So think about that. Like, that's a while, right? Hey, do the right thing. So he killed his wife in April. Wait, was that actually a longer time period? Let me go back to that. I might actually be mistaken on that. Oh, I was about to say that. I see 2012. I was like, that was something else. That's when he tried to appeal. I was about to say. So he killed his wife in April 2010, and he wasn't extradited until July 2011, over a year later. And it says U.S. Magistrate Jacqueline Chujin determined that Redmond should be sent to Mexico because there was enough circumstantial evidence to show probable cause that he might have murdered his wife. U.S. prosecutors have reviewed the case made by Mexican authorities and deemed sufficient evidence to show possible motives for him to have killed his wife, including collecting insurance money, getting sole custody of their children, and continuing an extramarital affair. So even after he murdered his wife, looks like he still continued on with that affair, that person he was having an affair with. I don't know. But anyway, so basically it looks like the U.S. is the one that really was taking a long time to approve it, right? It says, after reviewing everything and finding probable cause that he murdered his wife, U.S. prosecutors have reviewed the case made by Mexican authorities and deemed sufficient evidence. So once they reviewed the case made by the Mexican authorities and deemed it sufficient evidence to show possible motives for him to have killed his wife, then they finally did the extradition. And that was July 12, 2011. That was over a year. And if you actually go back one step, it says on November 16, 2010 is when he was arrested, and that was under a provisional warrant. Now, if that provisional arrest request was not had not been submitted, he would not have been extradited until maybe around 2011. On July 12, 2011, that would have been almost another year. That would have been like over a year of him being a free man. That's what I mean. So he would have been a free man for over a year. But that actually made him, that provisional arrest made him get arrested in November instead. But if it wasn't for that provisional arrest, he would have been arrested or extradited only in July 12, 2011. So I'm saying the only thing different what I'm seeing is that Dejanay and Bruce, not, what's that, Bruce? That's too many names. Okay, Dejanay and Bruce both murdered someone in Mexico. They both came back to the United States. He came back after 2 days. How many days it took for her to come back, right? They both came back to the United States. Mexico issued an arrest warrant for both of them. Like, he got an arrest warrant and then she also got one. Both of them got one, like, I think hers was November 23rd, 2022 for Dejanay or something like that. And then Shanquella was killed on October 29th, right? So it wasn't like a full month for that one, but for him, it was like a little over a month. So you see the timeline here? They both had a arrest warrant issued for them in Mexico. They both ignored the arrest warrant. He didn't go to Mexico and turn himself in after the state attorney said, hey, you got an arrest warrant. And she didn't go over there, of course not, and go to Mexico and turn herself in, right? So it's the same steps. So they both, he was out here free for a long time before he was finally arrested under provisional arrest. So to me, the only way she will be arrested is number one, under a provisional arrest warrant, or number two, to be extradited, the extradition process. So everything is pretty much following the same pattern, but we need her to have that provisional arrest in order for it to match him. She has not been like a provisional arrest yet, right? And then as we can see with this case, the extradition took a long time. So we need a provisional arrest pending extradition. That's what we need. Okay. That's what I'm gathering from this. Okay, so yes, that's the family's GoFundMe. I appreciate the logic, in-depth discussion and analysis on this thread. Energy vampires suck up oxygen, complain, and reactive rather than proactive. Exactly. I have the storm. Great job, Dani. Your sword must have a shovel attachment the way you get to the bottom of things. Definitely have to try to get to the bottom of things. Definitely have to. Thank you, Deborah. Okay, y'all gassing me up too much now. Y'all gassing me up too much, but I love it. Keep it going. Keep it going. Okay, stop. Dani is the best. Dani is the truth. Yes, auntie, yes. Okay, the Storm Productions. Okay. I know what you meant. Gotta take 5. Friends or haters in the bushes. Yeah, at least y'all can give a like now. That's the way you can support my channels, hitting the like button. Oh, I sent money to your Cash App. Let me know you received it. Thank you for supporting my channel, Deborah. Thank you so much. And I also need to give thanks to someone else as well. Okay, let me go to it. Thank you to Desmond Jones for sending your Cash App. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Desmond Jones, for the Cash App. Victoria Walker, thank you. She Event Indy, thank you so much for the Cash App. And let's see who else. Gloria Byers, thank you so much. Well, I don't want to say the last name. I'm going to say the first name. Sorry. Gloria, thank you so much for supporting my channel as well. Deborah, I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting my channel. Okay, y'all showing me a lot of love today. I love it. Thank you. Thank y'all so much. And low key, always been supporting my channel. Thank you, girl. Thank you for supporting my channel. So my last call, I actually need to try to see if I can get a hold of Victor Castro, which obviously is the governor of Baja California. Sir, governor, I doubt I can actually get a hold of him, but I'll try before. I only have maybe, well, I think it's still some time. Yeah, thank you all for supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it. And another way you can support my channel, everyone, just hit the like button. That's free to do. That's free to do. And thank you, mods, also for posting my information. Okay. But imagine like her sister was really distraught over, obviously her sister was murdered by Bruce Redmond, and she was just wondering like why on earth was he walking around as a free man when he had, number one, a warrant in Mexico, and number two, he had murdered her sister, and number three, he was with the children. I think she tried to get the children, or the other family tried to get the children, but the grandparents ended up getting custody, right? I think that's how it happened. Don't take my word. I think that's what happened. The grandparents, and then he was staying there. Reality concierge. Darn it, I didn't get a notification you were live. Yeah, a lot of people are not getting notifications. I don't know why. Hit the notification bell. That's the only thing I can think of. The children needed a parent. Yeah, he deleted the mother. Exactly. And I promise I'm going to update this playlist. But a lot of times when I have free time, I'm trying to make phone calls or do something. So I actually do need to update the playlist. But yes, I do have a playlist for everyone that needs to catch up on the videos. Exactly. Like they needed their mother. Yes, like, subscribe, and share. They need to bring down the people also that's hiding these people out. The thing is about hiding out is that a lot of these people don't really have a warrant, so they're not really hiding. They're actually walking around free, just like Bruce Redmond. He was walking around free all the way from April when he killed his wife until November 16, 2010. So he was a free man from April to November. Free. No, nothing. And even though he had a warrant in Mexico and really considered a fugitive by Mexico standards, right? He was still a free man in the United States. Just free. And you would think like United States, hello, why don't you just go arrest Bruce because he's a murderer and he murdered his wife? Why didn't you arrest him? Mexico is giving you all this evidence, but he's still not arrested. And then, like I said, they finally submitted a provisional arrest request, and then he was finally arrested in November after killing his wife in April. He was a free man. So y'all need to actually go look at this case. I'm telling you, he was a free man after he came back to the United States from murdering his wife in Mexico, walking around like Manhan, Desjardins Jackson out here free. I'm telling you, that's a good case to actually go look at. And I'm actually going to look at it further, right? And then as far as the Coleman case, that's a good one to look at because even though there was a cooperation between Mexico and the United States and even the border, they all were cooperating and gathering evidence and everything else together. And Mexico has stated that they wanted Coleman to be, Matthew Taylor Coleman, to be extradited to the United States. The United States, after reviewing everything and all the evidence and everything, they decided, even though it happened in Mexico, the two children were killed in Mexico, they decided that the United States was the appropriate venue to try the case. So they invoked the extraterritorial jurisdiction. So when people are on here saying that if they're going to be extradited, they're going to be tried in the United States, no one really knows besides the Department of Justice of what will actually happen in the end, and probably FBI. Once they review everything and decide, they don't know. No one knows. And the Department of Justice was actually nice to kind of like say, well, thank you. We appreciate everything that you've done for everyone in Mexico with full cooperation and help with this, but we are still going to try them in the United States. So Mexico doesn't have the final word when United States under federal law has the right and the ability to actually try someone in the United States if they want to by invoking this law. You know how I feel about your rest. Yes, I am going to get some rest, but during business hours, that's when things have to get done. Hey, Dani in the chat, don't forget to smash the like button. Hey, hello, Jessica. I haven't seen you in a minute. Hope you've been okay. I don't get them to my phone, but I do get them to YouTube. You know what? Sometimes I really don't think I get a lot of notifications too. I need to actually go. I see it when like I go to my the tab where it says like subscription tab, whatever, on the YouTube app, but I don't actually. So I see that like the red little things, but I don't really get a lot of notifications on my phone at the top. Usually when I get that is when someone already had went live like days before. I'll get a notification that someone was live. Hey, Panther Queen. Okay, so let me go ahead and play this video of Gerardo talking to Daniel De La Rosa Anaya. Hold on.
con Estados Unidos tenemos entendido que hay dos trámites, ¿no? Que creo que concretamente que se hicieron. Uno fue el tema de la ficha roja, otro el tema de la extradición. De ser así, ¿podría explicarnos un poco en qué consiste cada uno de ellos?
Bueno, en este caso, pues estas dos solicitudes, sobre todo porque se tiene la información pertinente dentro de la investigación que la presunta responsable, en este caso, de los hechos que se tiene hasta este momento, sobre todo viajó hacia la Unión Americana y se trata de una ciudadana de ese país. Entonces, por ello, la solicitud de extradición en específico.
Okay.
Y la ficha también roja es a través de Interpol, es para que se tenga el conocimiento por parte de la Interpol de que esta persona cuenta con un mandamiento judicial emitido por un juez aquí de nuestro país, en el caso en particular del estado de Baja California Sur.
Ok, muy bien. Desde su punto de vista y basado en su experiencia, ¿podría decirnos qué tan sólido o fuerte considera usted que está integrado el expediente de solicitud para la orden de aprehensión y con fines de extradición de esta persona? ¿Qué tan fuerte va el expediente?
Bueno, la investigación es objetiva y va muy sólida, sobre todo porque estamos hablando que se allegaron en la integración de la propia carpeta de investigación tanto elementos de investigación como entrevistas, diversas pruebas periciales, inspecciones. Diversos datos de prueba que incluyen aspectos circunstanciales y sobre todo de señalamiento directo, como en este caso el video y otros.
Basically, he's telling them the different types of evidence they have. They said video and audio, interviews, a lot of technological elements. It says interviews, witness testimonies, expert evidence. Oh, I wish I could actually see this stuff, but obviously we're not going to see it until there's a trial, right? So there are many elements of investigation that support the case. All these elements will be integrated into the criminal file. Inspections, experimental data. So basically just going over the types of evidence they have gathered so far. But this entry, it says witness statements. Who would be actually the witness? Unless you're talking about the fake friends. To me, those would be actually accomplices, but they can also be seen as witness to actually the attack, right?
Vistas, diversas pruebas periciales, inspecciones, diversos datos de prueba que...
Well, the maid can also be a witness to what happened when she arrived as well, or arrived on scene.
Que incluyen aspectos circunstanciales y sobre todo de señalamiento directo, como en este caso el video y otros.
It says, and technological elements that include video and audio. We saw the video, right? But he also says audio. So I guess he's talking about maybe the audio of like the 911 emergency call, or could there be other audio that we don't know about? Like maybe, I don't know. It says video and audio, so he made like a distinction between the two.
Mecanismos tecnológicos que se han llegado en la propia investigación y sobre todo pues lo que se viene desarrollando también en lo que se ha estado también integrando en la propia carpeta y que será parte de la investigación complementaria, que es otra etapa pues del procedimiento penal.
Ok. ¿Existe posibilidades de que México pueda ceder la jurisdicción del caso de Shanquella Rosa?
And of course, Gerardo knows that people keep on saying, I know he was upset that people posted that. I'm like the first one that did, right? The Chris Swecker interview, the FBI assistant director, former. I posted that because obviously he is 24 years of experience. He has knowledge and expertise and knowledge of what happens with extraditions. He did a lot of international things within the department, within the FBI. Why wouldn't I listen to him? And guess what? He's right of what he's saying, because Chris Swecker stated that a lot of times the United States can invoke what's called extraterritorial jurisdiction, and we have seen that with the case I just mentioned, with the Bruce Redmond case and some other cases too that I looked at as well. So that can happen. So Chris is not really off the mark, and what he actually said was factual. However, I do say that Chris Swecker was very shady, and he also was like really like downing Mexico's competence. He said they're like incompetent in a lot of areas. So I can see why there would be like dislike towards Chris. I mean, think about it. I would be the same way for him to say that. But Chris pretty much said there was like a painstaking process to be dealing with Mexico extraditions, and there are a lot of times incompetent. So that was I can see why he doesn't like Chris Swecker. But right here, he's asking Daniel De La Rosa Naya if they will concede the case. Like, basically, will Mexico allow United States to take over this case? And now he's about to answer.
A Estados Unidos. Cualquiera que sea su respuesta, ¿nos podría explicar un poquito si existe posibilidad?
Bueno, aquí, a ver, lo que hay que informar es que se trata de un hecho acontecido, un hecho con apariencia de delito acontecido en el estado de Baja California Sur. Las autoridades competentes para...
Basically, he's saying right now that it happened in Baja California Sur. That's where it happened at, okay? And then he says the competent authorities are handling it. So basically, he's saying, let me go ahead and let him finish his statement. Let me finish his statement before I respond.
Sobre todo para llevar el proceso y que no se genere impunidad en este hecho. Por ello se han venido realizando todos los procedimientos respectivos, es por las autoridades de Baja California Sur y por los jueces que están establecidos aquí, particularmente en San José del Cabo. Entonces, es un hecho totalmente competencia de México, ¿no? Y en lo particular del estado de Baja California Sur.
Okay.
Pretty much, let's just say he's saying it's going to happen and she's going to be tried, or they are going to be tried and handled. Everything will be handled in Baja California Sur, and that they are competent and it's basically their jurisdiction. This happened on their soil, and they have jurisdiction over this case. However, as I've pointed out and shown, that has been the case in other cases, but where it happened on Mexican soil, but the United States still invoked the extraterritorial jurisdiction and took over, whether Mexico liked it or not. So that's still a possibility. So even though I understand that they kind of feel like they dropped the ball because the Cabo 5, 6 were able to come back to the United States, and they feel like they dropped the ball and they want to actually correct this and right what happened, right this whole situation. And I bet he would love it if he can actually get them back to Mexico so he can really like nail them to the cross. I won't say nail them to the cross, but really just really get justice for Shanquella and make this all right for Cabo as first as this like tourism and everything else. Like you really want to fix this. However, he really has to understand, and he knows and has experience in this area to know that the United States could actually take over, and there's nothing he could really do about it. As I just showed y'all where in one case they actually thanked the Mexico for their collaboration and contributions and efforts, but they decided that the United States was appropriate venue to handle the case, so that can happen. So we cannot pretend like that cannot happen when there's precedent in cases that prove that it can happen.
Una pregunta, ¿la familia de esta chica se ha comunicado directamente con ustedes en la Procuraduría de Justicia del Estado?
For this question, he's basically asking, like, has the victim's family, like Shanquella's family, had like direct communication with the state attorney general's office with him, right?
Bueno, tenemos los mecanismos de comunicación desde el momento en que aconteció este lamentable hecho, a través también de las instancias consulares y diplomáticas de Estados Unidos de América, de las autoridades que son el vínculo también con nosotros. Entonces se ha...
Okay, one thing he said was like from the moment this occurred, there was some sort of process where there would be like some kind of communication with the family, and that's to me untrue. Now, what happened was like when it happened, yeah, there was a process of dealing with the American citizen that died on Mexican soil. That process was underway. But as far as reaching out to the family and having communication with the family, that was not really happening right away or fast. Should I say fast enough? Because her father had to end up actually trying to locate her and find out where she was. So there was a way that they, at the State Department, they dropped the ball on that, on the communication with the family.
Venido generando pues una comunicación directa en este sentido, y sí hay esos mecanismos.
Pero es directamente con el gobierno de Estados Unidos, no
Así
con
es.
ustedes. Okay. Ellos han mandado...
But pretty much it's basically the communication is through the U.S. government. So it's not really directly to the not governor. It's not directly to Daniel De La Rosa and his office. It's mostly through the U.S. government where the communication is going through. The communication with the family is handled directly through the U.S. government, not him, basically.
El gobierno de Estados Unidos, no con
Así
ustedes.
es.
Okay. ¿Ellos han mandado algún abogado o alguna persona de investigación para acá?
Bueno,
que haya tenido contacto con ustedes.
Sí, tienen a través de el asesor jurídico que tiene designado dentro de la...
Let me go back a bit. I think he was asking him, has there been sent a lawyer or something or to Mexico for the family or something? On. Have they sent any lawyer or any investigative person to Mexico? Well, what's interesting is this. I have to actually go back and watch that interview with Sue Ann because she mentioned something. Y'all know y'all heard it, right? She mentioned something about going to Mexico. Now, I don't know what she meant by that, but she said something about Mexico, returning from Mexico. I don't know what she meant or what she was doing. right? I need to go back and actually watch that. But if you actually go to my main channel, I have a video going commentary on Sue Ann Robinson, who is allegedly the family's lawyer, right? But let's see. Let's go back to this. Is have they sent any lawyer or any investigative person to Mexico? And let's see what his response was. It says through the legal advisor assigned to them in the investigation folder. So basically, they have a legal advisor that was assigned to them, and that information is in the investigation folder. And that person is kind of like the liaison, or the person that's been helping them, help them through certain procedures, like even like getting the body home to the United States. What else it says here? And her funeral honors were coordinated through direct communication with the American authorities. So basically, I guess they have like in the folder, they have some kind of legal representation for the family that works, I guess, with the United States, like for the family, should I say. It's kind of like in the United States, like they have, a lot of times they have victim advocates, or even like the prosecutor that's working for the family, or the lawyer, like the prosecutor that's working for the family, or the victim, should I say, of a case. So it would be no different like in the United States, where if there's a victim, then they'll usually have somebody assigned to the case, like a prosecutor or something. Okay, so, and then what's the next question? Oh, it says, will there be justice for Shanquella? So that's the last one. Let me go ahead and play this.
¿Habrá justicia para Shanquella Robinson en México?
Por supuesto que habrá justicia para la joven Robinson aquí en nuestro país, y lo vuelvo a reiterar, todos los casos que se han venido presentando prácticamente están resueltos o están siguiendo su curso ante la autoridad judicial. Y en este caso en particular, pues ya se tienen avances muy importantes. Aquí únicamente es que se cumplimenten pues los procedimientos pertinentes para que esta persona que está sobre todo investigada como presunto responsable en estos hechos, pues sea sometida al procedimiento penal respectivo ante el juez que la está requiriendo.
Ok. Bueno, nada más vamos a hacer unas preguntas rápidas. Nos gustaría que nos pudiera responder con un sí o un no. Y
basically, he basically said, yes, there will be justice for Shanquella in Mexico. So basically, like stating again that it will be like tried in Mexico, and they will handle it and to give her justice. And also for the next part, he's saying like, if you could answer just with yes or no, like with rapid questions of yes or no responses to the question. So let's see what he says here. And of course, he's also, keep in mind that they're also putting shifting it mostly onto the United States, saying that they've done pretty much their part, and they're waiting for all like the pertinent procedures and protocols, procedures, and everything to take place for her to be sent back to Mexico, and then from there they will handle it pretty much. So I don't know if they'll be extradited, if she will be extradited or actually tried here. But to me, I don't know. But remember on that one case they were discussing, they said that there's sufficient evidence. So to me, I've been thinking that they've been waiting like to collect a lot of evidence as much as possible before they do anything. Let me go back.
Y sería nada más para finalizar la entrevista. ¿La investigación de Shanquella sigue abierta?
Sí, así es.
¿La investigación de Shanquella ya fue cerrada?
No.
¿El gobierno de México ya cumplió con la entrega de la solicitud de la orden de extradición para la responsable del homicidio?
Sí.
La decisión.
So basically, he said he has Mexico completed the extradition like paperwork, and then he said yes. And then it says the next question is the decision to extradite this person.
La decisión de extraditar a esta persona ahora está en manos de Estados Unidos.
Now in the hands of the United States.
Así es, sí.
El crimen de Shanquella se cometió en México.
So again, to me, he's really doing these interviews and trying to put it out there that it's in the United States hands to extradite, that he's done the extradition paperwork, he's done his part in this, and then he's waiting on the United States. Yeah.
¿Sigue abierta?
Sí, así es.
¿La investigación de Shanquella ya fue cerrada?
No.
¿El gobierno de México ya cumplió con la entrega de la solicitud de la orden de extradición para la responsable del homicidio?
Sí.
¿La decisión de extraditar a esta persona ahora está en manos de Estados Unidos?
Así es, sí.
¿El crimen de Shanquella se cometió en México y por lo tanto debe ser juzgado en México?
En México, en Baja California Sur.
Gerardo is really trying to clear the air, or trying to basically state that Dejane will be tried in Mexico and not United States. He really tries to drive that home, but no one really knows, Gerardo, if she will be extradited or not. There are cases where people are extradited, and there are cases where the United States says that United States is appropriate venue, and they invoke that extra territorial jurisdiction that Chris Wecker mentioned and other people also mentioned, right? So no one knows really. The United States has to decide that. And also keep in mind that Dane De La Rosa Naya, he keeps on making sure that everyone knows it's not Mexico, because a lot of people saying Mexico, Mexico, Mexico. He's letting everyone know. But he keeps on like saying Baja California Sur, letting everyone know it's about that state, Baja California Sur, and not the entirety of Mexico.
Ok. ¿Existe la posibilidad de que México ceda la jurisdicción a Estados Unidos?
No.
So Gerardo's like, is there a possibility? Because he really wants to like say we're wrong about the United States taking over. Wait, hold on. Where is it?
La investigación contempla no solo a personas que estaban con la víctima.
Por supuesto que habrá justicia para la joven Robinson aquí en nuestro país, y lo vuelvo a reiterar, todos los casos que se han venido presentando prácticamente están resueltos o están siguiendo su curso ante la autoridad judicial. Y en este caso en particular, pues ya se tienen avances muy importantes. Aquí únicamente es que se cumplimenten pues los procedimientos pertinentes para que esta persona que está sobre todo investigada como presunto responsable en estos hechos, pues sea sometida al procedimiento penal respectivo ante el juez que la está requiriendo.
Ok. Bueno, nada más vamos a hacer unas preguntas rápidas. Nos gustaría que nos pudiera responder. El gobierno de México ya cumplió con la entrega de la solicitud de la orden de extradición para la responsable del homicidio.
Sí.
La decisión de extraditar a esta persona ahora está en manos de Estados Unidos.
Así es, sí.
El crimen de Shanquella se cometió.
Okay, this question was Shanquella's crime committed in Mexico, which is obviously yes.
En México, por lo tanto, debe ser juzgado en México.
And then he added, and therefore should be tried in Mexico. So was it committed in Mexico and therefore should be tried in Mexico?
En México, en Baja California Sur.
Ok. ¿Existe la posibilidad de que México ceda la jurisdicción de Estados Unidos?
And then his follow-up question after that was, is there a possibility that they will concede jurisdiction to the United States? So is there a possibility of the United States taking over this case and trying Dejanay and the others, Cabo 5, right? Because when I say Cabo 5, that means I think Nazir is going to be a civil case, and I think the other will be a criminal case, and his will be civil case, wrong, like, yeah. So let's go ahead into his.
No.
Okay.
Now, see, he can't answer no. Is there a possibility that that Mexico will concede this to the United States? Because the United States can invoke extraterritorial jurisdiction. They can take over whether Mexico likes it or not. So he doesn't know that. I mean, to me, I really do think that Daniel De La Rosa Naya, he is ready to handle this case. He really wants them all to be returned to the United States and for him to show us what he can do to right this whole situation, how they fled and how Shanquella didn't get justice. He wants to actually fix the image of Baja California Sur, where he is the state attorney. He actually wants to fix the image of Mexico, Baja California Sur, and everything else. If you actually pay attention to their conference, their security conference they had, they really, really tried to make a good image for that area. Los Cabos is like a tourist area. So they really want to fix the situation and handle it. However, it's not up to him whether she'll be extradited or not, whether they would be extradited or not. The United States actually has the final say. They can actually invoke this extraterritorial jurisdiction or they can extradite. It can go either way. So he can't say whether he can't say definitely that it won't happen, right? Okay, so thank you so much for supporting this channel. Thank you, Sherry Watt. I got your Cash App. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Sherry. And Sharon also, she put, thanks for doing what you do. Yes, hashtag justice for Shanquella and other people as well. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, Sharon. I appreciate it. Yes, Hunty. Yes, y'all showing me love today. What's today? Wednesday? Yeah, showing me love on a Wednesday, Hunty. Thank y'all. So, okay, let's go ahead and finish this up.
La investigación contempla no solo a personas que estaban con la víctima, sino también a todas las personas relacionadas al tema del día 29 de octubre.
Sí.
Ok. Pues le agradecemos mucho la entrevista. No sé si tenga algo más que comentar sobre este caso.
Bueno, pues agradecer sobre todo la oportunidad de informar directamente cómo se ha venido desarrollando en lo que también los procedimientos legales nos permiten, sobre todo reiterando que se trata de un hecho que pues, prácticamente es materia de investigación ya con este caso judicializado. Sin embargo, lo que podemos también resumir en esta entrevista es que no va a haber impunidad, que se está investigando, lo reiteramos muy objetivamente, en forma integral, para que se queden esclarecidos totalmente los hechos y se puede informar con toda transparencia y claridad lo que se ha venido desarrollando y pues lo que en su momento determinen también las autoridades judiciales respectivas.
Ok.
Basically, he's just pretty much saying also that he can only disclose certain information, but he will try to keep us informed based on what he can basically say, pretty much, because he did answer some questions, but of course, obviously, since it's an ongoing investigation, he can't answer all questions. And what else was stated? Also, yeah, there's no impunity, so it's not just about Dejanay, it's about investigating everyone that was involved in what happens. He previously said the same thing, that it's not just about the main fact that happened, the murder. It's also about the omission and everything else. So there's no impunity when he's trying this case. That is being investigated very objectively. It is fully established. He was saying it's thorough. Let's go back.
¿En Estados Unidos?
No.
Okay.
So yeah, he obviously won't, like, he really wants to try it in the Mexico, and that's why he said he won't concede. But again, the United States has shown that they can just do it without approval or needing his approval to concede.
La investigación contempla no solo a
Is the investigation considering not only people
personas que estaban con la
who were
víctima,
with the victim? So it's not only is it considering only people that were with the victim,
sino también a todas las personas,
but also all the people related to the incident of October 29th. So basically, it's not just about the fake friends that he's looking into or investigating, but also the people related to the incident of October 29th. That would be the Dr. Carolina Ornelas. That would be Mavi, the paramedic, and her partner. I don't know his name. Who else? Well, the maid was there as well. Oh, remember the concierge that we talked to, Ivan? He said that the police had questioned the chef as well. The chef had been questioned, the maid and the concierge had been. You know what? I actually might call Ivan back, because Ivan, to be honest, I should have been called him back, because he was actually starting to give more information without even knowing it. When I looked over that video, he was actually giving like tidbits of information. I should have been calling him back. He probably has been silenced now, right? But yeah. So basically, there's no impunity. Everyone is being looked into and investigated. Here is my question that I have. I wish I could ask some questions. My question is this: Dejanay has been charged. You have a warrant for her arrest, right? But you also keep saying that the doctor is under investigation and could face charges. If you have a lot of evidence about this incident, right? You have a lot of evidence, and you said you collected all these types of evidence. Shouldn't you also have enough evidence by now to charge the doctor and anyone else you would actually want to charge? Because if you said you're looking at everybody, including the fake friends, so that will include the doctor and other people, right? So to arrest a doctor, she's in Mexico. You don't need a extradition, provisional arrest, or extradition, or any type of paperwork to arrest her besides just a regular warrant. So to me, if you have all this evidence, why isn't the Mexican citizens involved and being investigated? And you have all this evidence, why haven't they been charged or arrested? They don't need an extradition. So that's my question. I'm actually going to send to that email address, right? They might not respond, but you know what? I might send I might send 2 emails. One will be about the provisional arrest, and then the second one will be, if you have all this evidence that you've collected so far about this case, and it's a strong case and strong evidence, and you keep on stating that everyone is being investigated and looked into, what about everyone else that's a Mexican citizen? The Mexican citizens don't need extradition paperwork. So where are the charges and the warrants for those people if you have all this evidence and you're still mentioning them now? Like if they were already cleared, if they have been cleared already, right, then there's no need to mention that they are still being possibly charged later. It's not really adding up on that part. So that I would need further clarification on, if all the evidence you have, you said, is a strong case, it must be only for Dejeuner, because if it's for any of the Mexican citizens, you don't need extradition paperwork to arrest and charge those Mexican citizens. You don't have to go through all this paperwork and hoopla with the United States FBI going back and forth, the Department of Justice. You can just arrest them in Mexico. So that's my second question. I actually wish I could interview him because I have a lot of questions. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. So yeah, let me read some comments. And again, thank you all for hitting the like button, and also for those who sent a cash app to support the channel. I actually need to see if I can actually find the number for Victor Castro really fast, but that will be my last call for today. About 50, thank you so much for supporting my channel as well. I just got your cash app. Thanks, girl. Okay, y'all are spoiling me now. Spoiling me, hunty. Spoiling me. I like being spoiled though, but hey, thanks for spoiling me, y'all. All right, so let me go ahead and so again, thanks you about 50 and everyone else that supported the channel as well. So what I'm about to do now is actually see if I can call Victor Castro. He's the governor. Okay, so I'm really curious. I'm really curious about the provisional arrest that was used to arrest a warrant or arrest whatever request that was submitted to arrest Bruce Redmond, who killed his wife in Mexico, fled to United States. He was living as a free man for months, from April all the way into November. And then he was finally arrested under a provisional arrest warrant. And then in July of the following year, he was extradited back to Mexico. Okay, so let me read your comments. Well, actually, let me see if I can find let's see, Victor. I think I have it on the petition with some information. Things.org. So tomorrow, I have some phone calls I'm going to play for the Jalen Lewis case. And trust me, it's a lot of cover-up going on with that case, a lot of cover-up. And it was some progress being made, right? But then it's progress being made because they're feeling the heat of everything and they're trying to release stuff. But what they're trying to release now is garbage. So the stuff they're releasing is garbage, and it's still trying to cover their asses, but it's kind of like when somebody gives you like a little piece of something to try to appease you, but it's still nothing, and you know that it's still covering up based on what they sent you. So I still need to make some more phone calls, and y'all, when y'all hear some of these phone calls, y'all gonna be like, oh wow. So I'll play some of that tomorrow and catch y'all up on that case, the Jalen Lewis case. A lot of cover up going down there in Mississippi. And Mississippi down there, y'all go covering up stuff. And at first, I really knew that was covering up. But now that they gave me some documents, I see that y'all are really covering things up down in Mississippi. Really are. Okay, let me see. Victor Castro. But you know what? He actually, that email from that one guy, Let me give y'all Victor Castro's email. Hold on. If you email that one guy and you mention Victor Castro, because he said that he could actually show it to different people, right? So he could probably give it to Victor Castro on banners. Don't ignore that. That's the wrong one. Hold on. I need to actually delete that. And who is this? Victor Castro. This is the governor from Mexico. Okay. Now, I don't know if I can actually see if he has a phone number really quick. But he's the one that was at the security conference. Now, I played that security conference video they had recently, and they discussed that briefly. And that's reporter Zayamara asked some questions. Let's see. Well, I don't want to keep y'all waiting. So what I'm going to do is I need to actually find a phone number for him. And then what I'll do is I'll do another call day. I'll make phone calls to see. Okay, I had his email at the bcs.gov. Let me search for that. Wait, I think I found OMC something here. Ooh. You know who I want to talk to, but I think she has been ignoring me. The receptionist for Mavi, the paramedic. Let's see, procedures and services. Well, no one has answered the phone since I called back the last time. Let me go back. Do they have a Facebook? Because a lot of times people put the number on Facebook. Let me go here. Transparency. Where is it? me pull up somewhere else. Okay, what I'm going to do is, I don't want to keep y'all waiting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to actually find his phone number or find the information, and then I'll call back the next time. I'll find his information and I'll call back tomorrow when I make phone calls tomorrow. Okay, so see. Okay, so if you're just not joining, make sure that you sign and share the petition, Justice for Shanquella Robinson. That's change.org/Shanquella, change.org/Shanquella. So make sure you're signing and sharing this petition. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. For the remainder of the live, I'm just going to be reading through comments. Okay. Oh, let me see if I can call. Let me call Mavi so I won't actually waste the last time. Let me see if I can get a hold of Mavi. I have one. If they could just answer one question that I have, that would be great. Where is it? But still, I'm gonna call him later, but email him though. Y'all can still email him at this email.
Hola, su llamada no puede ser atendida.
I'm telling y'all, I think she knows my number. She never answers that phone anymore. Yeah. So anyways, have a great day, everybody. Dang, I just have one question. Oh well. So anyways, I might try a different number. Okay, so let me read your comments and then I'm gonna be out. Let me go back up. The answer is no. I don't think Dejanay has been arrested. I don't think provisional arrest papers are usually known or put out, should I say? Like even with the Redmond case, people knew about the provisional arrest. And don't forget that Mexico is the one that's talking. So Mexico came out and said that we have a warrant for her arrest. Mexico has came out and says we submitted the extradition request or information to Interpol for like the red alert notice, right? So to me, if Mexico had actually completed a provisional arrest, then they would state that as well. And remember, he keeps saying that he wants Desjardins to be extradited to Mexico. If she was already arrested, he would actually be more calm. To me, he's really trying to get the United States to extradite Desjardins. So if Desjardins was already arrested and under provisional arrest and pending extradition, we would already know about it. And he will be more calm about the situation. He knows that she's out here and still free. Just like Bruce Redmond, he was free from April all the way to November. He was a free man walking around here, even though he killed his wife in Mexico. Okay. Hey, Kiva. Thank you. Okay, so no, that's not the case. Interpol is not about. Interpol is I already went over this before. That's nothing. Provisional arrest has nothing to do with Interpol. That's just a red file alert notice. If she had a provisional arrest warrant, she would be arrested, because that's kind of like saying that someone is a flight risk and they need like that person to be like arrested immediately. She does not have that. What I need y'all to do is go look up it's a lot. So I don't know if y'all want me to go over the whole case with y'all, because it's a lot to that case. It's actually like a document. Let me post that document for people that actually want to see. I posted it before, but that document is really it's a large file. So I'll post it. But what you need to do is actually think about them. You can actually just go to that wiki article and look at the timeline of events. He was arrested. He killed his wife in April. They applied for a warrant and they got a warrant. They said he had a warrant in May. Okay. Like a month and a half later. And then he was a free man out here living with his 2 children and his parents, a free man in America. Okay, United States. Nothing was happening to him. Even though he had a warrant in Mexico, nothing was happening to him at all. It wasn't until they applied for a provisional arrest was that he finally was arrested. So he murdered his wife and he was a free man until that provisional arrest. And then he was arrested in November. So he killed his wife in April. He was a free man until November. And look at the timeline. And Desjardins is going through that same thing. Just like Bruce Redmond, she fled back to the United States and she's out here free, even though she has a warrant. And if you actually go look at, I actually have a bunch of articles on it, but he was actually complaining that Mexico had a warrant. Desjardins is being silent, but he was not being silent. When Mexico put a warrant out for his arrest, he was complaining about it. Him and his lawyer was talking about it, that they can't believe that he had a warrant for his arrest in Mexico. But even though he had a warrant for his arrest in Mexico, the victim's family was complaining because he was at home with his 2 children and his parents at home. Nothing was happening to him. And they were like, well, how can he be out here free when he has a warrant in Mexico? So I'm telling you, when you look at this case, you will be like, oh my gosh, this is the first beginnings of it. Is just like what's happening with Desjardins. We are like, how can she be out here free when she murdered Shanquella? There's evidence. Well, how could he be out here free from April all the way until November when there was evidence of him murdering his wife? He was with his children, 2 children and his parents at home. Nothing happened to him. So I'm telling you, if you actually want a good case comparison, look at this. And then what you will have to do is say, what happened? What made him get arrested in November? He wasn't extradited until the following year in July. So he killed his wife in April 2010. He wasn't actually extradited until July of 2011. So what happened in between for him to be arrested? Oh yeah, that provisional warrant for his arrest was submitted saying that he was a flight risk and not trustworthy. Right? So that's how you can tell that it's possible to murder someone in Mexico and still come over here as a free person, even though the United States has evidence of it. There's still they can't just come out and arrest you based on that. Now, what can happen is the Department of Justice needs to speed up their review of all evidence and everything else that's going on, because they can actually speed up the extradition process, right? So yeah, the United States can speed up this extradition, because in the Redmond case, they didn't actually extradite him until he killed his wife in April 2010. He wasn't extradited and approved for extradition until July 2011. So that was over a year that, and finally the Department of Justice approved it, right? So yeah, let me go ahead and post that. That'll be the last thing I'll post today. It's the complete case notes for that case, Redmond case. But you can pretty much catch the gist of it just by going to that wiki article, right? And seeing a timeline of events. And then what you can do is put his timeline next to Dejanay's timeline. And then you'll see that she's at this part right now where she has a warrant for her arrest in Mexico, but it doesn't affect her at all in the United States. Nope, it doesn't. It didn't affect him. He was still at home with his 2 children and his parents until that provisional arrest was applied for, right? So it's possible. Okay, I need to find that. Where is it? It's actually the first thing you look up for when you actually search up his case. It actually comes up. Is that the one? No, I don't think that's it. Oh, here it is right here. Hold on. This document is 438 pages. It says extradition documents for Bruce Redmond. And it's 438 pages. So I'm definitely not going to be reading all this. But if you go to the right, it has a menu and it has everything from the exhibits, autopsy, of course, the affidavit. It has like everything about the extradition, this whole extradition documents for Bruce Redmond. And if you go to exhibit 27, it'll say sister-in-law statement identifying Redmond and seeking provisional arrest. I mean, Nancy Grace talked about how they identify the person, right, for the certain arrest and everything, right? It's kind of like that's what she was doing, the sister-in-law, right? My sister Monica Burgess Redmond she was married to him for 11 years and they had 2 children names and they redacted the children's name. And this is the for the provisional arrest. So, like I said, wait, hold on. Where is it? So yeah, I'm gonna post a link to this. So if y'all actually want to actually look through all this, this is the extradition documents for Bruce Redmond that was extradited to Mexico, served 7.5 years, and they let him out some, they said something about 60% only has to be served of the time. Let's see. Yeah, it's a lot. Trust me, it's a lot of documents. I'm actually going to look at this more in detail, but the main thing I just pay attention to is that it's Dejeuner is really following the same thing, timeline, but a provisional arrest happened with Bruce. That's what made him get arrested before he was actually extradited. So we are looking for her to be arrested. It needs to be under a provisional arrest right now, and then so she can be arrested while the extradition process is going in place before it gets into place. Let's see. There was something I actually wanted to show on this, but I can't remember what it was. I think it was on page 108. Okay, so I just post this link. Okay, this is 438 page extradition. So there's a lot of stuff, paperwork they file, a lot of paperwork. Okay. So yeah, I don't think she has been arrested yet. There will be Daniel De La Rosa is really just waiting for her to be something to happen to her. He's waiting. Nothing has happened to Dejeuner yet. She's just like him. She's just like Bruce Redmond, murdered somebody and came back here living at home comfortably, right? Hello, everyone. Have to go back and watch from the beginning. After finish, we need justice. Yes, justice for Shanquella. Basically, I pretty much only made like a couple of phone calls and I went over the different ways this case can go. And also, to me, I'm glad I actually looked at this case because, be honest, I'm like, how can someone be walking free in the United States if they have an arrest warrant in Mexico and they murdered someone, right? But now looking at Bruce Redmond, who actually was free from April all the way into November, right, of 2010, until he was arrested for under the provisional arrest. And then finally, he was only extradited in July 2011. So without that provisional arrest, it would have been actually over a year. And think about it, how long it would be for us to be on here for like over a year and nothing. And then finally, she was extradited. Only thing that stopped that from happening with Bruce for a long time period was that provisional arrest. Other than that, he would have been a free walking man from April 2010 to July 2011. Yep. With a tri-fit citation speed of her being picked up. That's the thing. Based on what I'm showing now or seeing, he had a warrant too. The police knew where he was. He was just a free man. He had a warrant in Mexico in May. They didn't pick him up until November when he had a provisional arrest warrant put out. So to me, I guess that warrant in Mexico is kind of, to be honest, it only will work if she goes to Mexico. Because right now in the United States, it looks like they can't do anything until they actually extradite or take over the case. I don't know. Now, when that other person, Matthew Coleman, killed his kids, he confessed. obviously he was, when the FBI questioned him, he confessed to the murder. So that was like a open and shut case right there. And they automatically, they after they did some investigation, they actually took over that case. And it was like fast because he confessed. Your energy is phenomenal. Love your drive. Thank you, Sherry. Let's keep our feet on the necks of American authorities in North Carolina and higher ups. Yes, we definitely need to apply pressure to the Department of Justice. I'm actually going to email tonight. Tonight I'm going to send an email with the new information on what is it, Dina King of North Carolina, because they wouldn't give me Sherry Lewis, who's actually the person I'm working on and the coordinator, but the coordinator works in the office of that Dina King. She just like the main one over the case for Shanquella, okay? But you can still call that number I posted right here to talk to Shirley Lewis, who's over the case. This number right here. That's the coordinator at the Department of Justice. And then this right here is Dina King, Department of Justice from Charlotte, North Carolina. That's the email address for her. And then there's also this one. But to me, there's no really use to emailing this random one right here for the webmaster to forward or something when you already have the direct email address for Dina right here. And this is for Victor Castro. And oh, where's that other comment? Where is it? I actually need to post this one. Where is it? Let me make this bigger. Banners. I actually have Daniel De La Rosa on the petition. You have to go to the petition page. I already posted these emails before. Where's the one for Daniel De La Rosa? So that other person is actually like the complaint department or something. They like whatever. So Daniel actually has his own email now. Trust me, I've already emailed him. However, having like a second person like forwarding him or showing things is kind of like, so he really can't overlook or say he didn't get certain things, right? So let's see. Create banner. This is an email right here actually for Daniel De La Rosa Naya. That's his email address right here. Again, if you go to the petition, all these emails are on the front page. Okay, so that's his email address. And then for that one guy I talked to earlier, let me post his. That's Daniel De La Rosa Naya, the state attorney. That's his email address. So if you actually have not emailed him yet, talk to him about trying to apply for a provisional arrest warrant, right? And then let's see, where's the other person? Okay, the last one is OIC at PGJEBCS. All right, so that's basically from what I got. I stand corrected if I'm wrong later, okay? Something about, that's the complaint line for like public officials or something like that. Hopefully, if she is convicted in Mexico, she will get more than Bruce. He only served 7 years in Mexico for killing his wife. And you know what? I actually read something where even if someone like serves time in Mexico for something, they could still serve time in the United States. It was weird, but I have to look at it again. Okay, people can believe what they want to believe, but trust me, the FBI know if there was a provisional arrest warrant for Dejanay, she would already be in jail. She would already be in jail already. She's not like, she's just like Bruce Redman. She's out here free, living her life. She's free. There, as you can see, with as soon as Bruce had like a provisional arrest warrant or whatever, I have to look at the exact date, whatever. But his butt was arrested. She's still out here free. She's not arrested. Hey, Sharon. Nah, we wish she was arrested, but she's not. And if some people say, well, they can't say she's if she's arrested or not. Trust me, if she was arrested, Mexico would definitely would say it, because it's not gonna harm the case. Look, everyone, they found out that what's his name had a provisional arrest warrant. It didn't harm the case, or it got out. And y'all think, and the U.S. Marshals came and arrested him? Y'all really think that if she was arrested, that it wouldn't be out here? The news would already be out here. And Gerardo already corrected himself that she's not arrested. Yeah, if she was arrested, it would already be news. It would already be put out that she's under provisional arrest, just like with Bruce. And U.S. Marshals and other people come into a house, that will actually bring attention to somebody, neighbors, people around, people. It will be known that she was arrested. Trust. All right, thank you, Deborah. Now we all wish it, but I'm not gonna be on here like, oh, she's arrested, or she's under provisional arrest now. And I've seen so far when I'm looking up cases, it's already, when someone is under any kind of arrest, is put out there. It's like America, like people will just all the business gets put out there. All your business. What'd I say? What'd I say, Jenny? I haven't even been making no jokes today. Let's see. I always check Dani's channel daily, even though you are set to all notifications. Sometimes YouTube will have a notify me link sitting on her schedule live thumbnail. Yeah, yeah, that's on there too. But to me, there is like a notification bell where you can set your notifications to my channel to all notifications. If you set it all, you should get every one. All right, thank you for signing the petition, Ruby Lee. Yeah, hopefully she does get more time than Bruce. 7, that's a little bit of time, right? He's still claiming that he's innocent. Well, and remember, Gerardo already came back and corrected himself. He said that she isn't arrested. He already corrected himself. Yes, follow that page on twitter.com / for Shanquella. Gerardo already said that she's not under arrest. He corrected himself. No arrests have been made. And like with Bruce Redman, when he was arrested under provisional arrest, it was known. It was known that he was arrested. I don't know, Gottrude. Good question. I don't know. And to be honest, y'all were I I had reached out there like for an interview and everything, but y'all were eating her up in my comments. Dang, y'all went ham and hard on her. Like, dang. Yeah. Y'all were like saying y'all didn't like her and everything else. Y'all were just tearing her up. Them comments were like, woo child, y'all were in. Y'all was saying like y'all really she had sent me her number. And I called back, but she never called me back after that. So I'm like, she must have saw that live because y'all were tearing her up. Damn, y'all be so mad. y'all don't be holding back. So I was like, and you know what? When I had the interview, and I also said something about being crump, no comment. No comment. That was a shady, messy live. And y'all comments, y'all were tearing her up. So she didn't call me back. So I'm like, y'all, there goes that interview. Y'all were going in on those comments. I was trying to keep it cute, but y'all were going in. I only shaded I only said for being crump. I didn't say her. But in the comments, y'all were going in on the comments. So there goes that. No, she didn't call me back. Oop. We are at 35,513 signatures on the petition. Yeah, great work, everyone. Please to continue sign and share it. Yeah. Y'all kept going on and on about not feeling the attorney. Y'all just going in. Just y'all don't be holding back. Y'all messy. Y'all know good and well I was trying to get an interview, and look what y'all did. Look what y'all did. But it could have been me because I said something about being crump, right? Child, them comments was hot. I was like, ooh. I hope she don't. I was like, I had put it on my main channel. I was like, I hope she don't see this video. I hope she don't see that video, but I think she probably did because that thing it was like 10,000 views. I think she probably seen it. You never know who's watching your channel, child. Well, anyway, that interview ain't happening. Should not compromise the case. Nope, it hasn't. The U.S. has the final say. Yep. Child. Have a good day, low key. I'm like way behind the chat, by the way. Cleaning and listening. Thanks for staying at the top of the Eddie. Definitely. Why is the maid being left out of the investigation? Well, based on Gerardo, asking that question, it's like everybody that at the scene. Wait. The maid has not been left out of the investigation. Now, I don't know if she will be charged with anything, but as far as investigation of asking her questions, she has already been questioned. And how do I know? Because I spoke to the concierge. I won't mention his name because I don't want to keep on throwing his name because I might need to call him back. Yeah, but anyways, I spoke to one of the concierge. We all did this, and we all know what live is in, but I'm not going to mention it. And he actually stated that the maid and the chef were both questioned, and the concierge. I was like, the chef? No, they questioned the chef, but obviously they were questioning everybody that was at the villa, right? So the maid has been questioned. So she also the maid has given a statement already, and the chef and the concierge. We have 173 likes, 192 watching. That's actually pretty good. If we had 192 watching at that time, because that was like 30 minutes ago, 192 were watching and 173 likes. That was like a lot of almost the whole chat. So that was actually pretty good. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. I knew I ain't have that many enemies, child. Hey L Brown, I haven't seen you in a minute. Hope you've been okay. Justice for Shanquella, yes, Hunter, yes. Please sign and share the petition. Yes. Hashtag Justice for Shanquella, and the petition is at chings.org/Shanquella. Glad I caught this live, but I've been following the vids. Keep it up, Dani. Thanks. Child, we be saying BPT and CPT, but shoot, is he on that MPT? We got black people time. Some people say color people time, but shoot, he's on that Mexican people time. It looks like to me, look, y'all, he worse than me, child. At least when I'm late, I actually reschedule. I'll like change the time. But when he late, he just be sitting there playing that same intro. I be getting dizzy off that shit. Like, damn, that intro like no. like how many times this same intro gotta play? Like, dude, child, you on that MPT. Shoot, I prefer CPT. BPT. Shoot, that MPT have you sitting there for a long time. It's just a joke. Don't take it all seriously. But I'm saying that woo child. Great lot, Dani. I didn't get the notification, but we'll go back and check the replay. Have a good day, everyone. Yeah. Have a good day to you too. And then he started live like he wasn't just like super late. And y'all know y'all be sitting there waiting too. So I guess he like, y'all still gonna be here. Y'all ain't going nowhere. Y'all ain't going nowhere. It's a shame our U.S. playing in our face, child. To me, based on that other case, for real though, it looks like they are real. They stated that they healed off on that extradition until it was like sufficient evidence, like until they had like a lot of evidence. But that one case was like open and shut because he the Matthew case, Matthew Taylor Coleman, he confessed to murdering his kids. He gave like graphic details. He believed in some weird conspiracy. He said, I think the daughter was still alive, but he just kept on doing more stuff to her to make sure she like passed away. It's like pure evil. And then later on, he said that he was being manipulated or controlled by those conspiracy thoughts and everything else. One of his friends said that he will seem to be okay, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he started seeing weird stuff about weird conspiracy things he believed. And then, yeah, so the friend said he got weird. And that can actually be like a thing. Like if you have a friend or you know somebody, and then they seem to be like have themselves together, but then all of a sudden they start seeing weird stuff and weird conspiracies. It seems like they might need to be checked. Yeah, they might need to have some kind of evaluation or be checked for something. Hi, Dani. Did I miss something? It was confirmed, verified. The DJ is not on provisional arrest. No, I basically just going. You have to catch the replay. It's basically just saying making comparisons between this case, Shanquella Robinson, and the Bruce Redmond case and the Matthew Taylor Coleman case, comparisons about provisional arrest and whether or not the U.S. can extradite or not extradite, or they can invoke extraterritorial jurisdiction on a case. It's a lot we went over. Basically, I would just say we're comparing cases, and I made a few phone calls today. Yeah, so maybe was it like a couple of phone calls? Some people didn't answer. Yeah, so love when you say, hey, 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 hey. So if there's a warrant in Mexico and the person goes for questioning, the FBI will let that person go for free. I'm telling you, she has Dejanae has a warrant in Mexico. And as we see, as I showed you in the file about, you have to catch the replay. I forgot that you have to catch the replay. But basically, there was a guy named Bruce Redmond, and he had an arrest warrant in Mexico, just like Dejanae. And he was complaining about it, but the police over here in FBI didn't do anything to him at all. They didn't do anything to him, even though he was complaining about it, and he had that arrest warrant. I think his was from Quintana Roo, Mexico. And the FBI didn't arrest him just because he had a warrant in Mexico. He was still free at home, living with his 2 children and parents. I don't blame you. Definitely not reading all of that. Nope. Now I did like go to the menu and select certain pages, but you gave us the Cliff Notes version, and we are good with that. Yep. But to be honest, I will probably be like looking through it a little bit more, because I just want to see how they did the autopsy and how they did certain things, right? How they did the This actually will tell you, like, even though it's 2010, a lot of things might have changed. It will actually show like maybe how they examined the crime scene and everything else. But the difference is that when they went out to this scene, they already went out there stated knowing that it was like a crime scene. This one, they went out there thinking that it was alcohol poison or accidental. So we don't know if they did this, how they treated the scene, right? My guess is they would treat it as if it were just that, but we don't know. But yeah, that's the document, 438 pages. I'm not reading all that, but I will go look at certain things I think is relevant for comparison sakes, right? That's crazy. You could go to another country, kill someone, and nothing happens to you. Yep. Well, something eventually happened to him, but he was a free man out here, out here. He was a free man out here for a long time before he was arrested. He killed her in April, and he wasn't arrested in under provisional arrest until November. Yep, he was a free man from April to November, and he wasn't even extradited until the following year, in July. The following July. We must keep in mind the evil criminals, Cabo 6 and others had to do with Shanquella murder. This is a major big case. Justice for Shanquella Robinson is coming. Exactly. But trust me, like going over this case actually like answers some questions about how the process works, which is why I did it. Please sign and share the petition. Yes, Hunter. Yes, Hunter. Yes. I believe Shanquella murder was a setup in the United States on the way to Mexico. Yeah, some people believe it was premeditated, but as with anything, it doesn't matter if it was premeditated or not. The United States can still go either way. They can extradite or they can invoke the extraterritorial jurisdiction. So it doesn't even have you don't even have to be premeditated or even anything on U.S. soil. As long as you are the defendant or whatever is a United States citizen, national citizen or whatever of the United States, then they can still invoke that. If they are back, even back in the United States, there's different things. You have to read that whole thing about extraterritorial jurisdiction. Oh, so double jeopardy doesn't apply if you serve time in a foreign country. It only applies to time served in the U.S. Let me come back to that because I briefly skimmed over a document about that article. But I briefly skimmed. I'll come back to that. But from what I was getting at from the article that I read, that I have to go. I don't actually go on to that because I have to verify the source. I was just skimming through and I saw something about if someone serves time in Mexico for something, they can still be tried in Mexico, United States. So I'll come back to that. Okay. Tribal. That's correct. She can be brought up on charges here. Hey, genuine woman. Yep, I heard that the case of the couple who killed the girl's mom in Thailand, they arrest her when she made back to U.S. soil. Child, the chat was not feeling that attorney. Child, I was like, every time I saw all those comments, I was like, child, there goes my interview. Woo, child, y'all ate her up. Ate her up, no dessert. Shoot, dang, y'all ate her up. Dang. I was like, there goes my interview. And then I accidentally pinned some of the comments. Like I'd be pinning the comments. I was like, oh shoot, I done pinned that comment and it's eating her up. I done pinned it. I done highlighted the comment like I'm co-signing it. I might have been co-signing. Oh Lord. Woo, child. Okay. Hey, mama for babies. Okay. Let's keep in mind, beautiful people, there was a murder cover-up set up in leaving Mexico. Yes. Okay. Yes. Karma will have to find each one. It will be worse than illegal justice. Yes. Thanks for getting those likes up. Yes, Hunter. Yes, hit that like button. It ain't going to hurt you. It ain't going to hurt you to hit the like button. Appreciate all that you're doing to get justice for Shanquella. Hey, Mariah. And thanks to everyone that helped too, because like I said, I just made a post the other day, even for like Jada Lewis. I said, can y'all email all these people? And people were like, done. Like it was a lot of people saying done. So a lot of people were doing it. So like everybody's really on top of this. Like, dang, go y'all, go. So like it ain't just me, because it's like applying pressure is everybody combined, like hundreds of people, like everybody calling, everybody emailing. That's how you apply pressure. People get sick of the email. They're like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all these emails. I'm sick of the phone calls. So what I need y'all to do, I'm going to send an email, obviously, with the info, but basically it's just to apply pressure to the FBI and Department of Justice in the United States, and also a Mexican official. So all the Mexican officials that are in charge of this whole thing of getting justice, and then also the United States, I'm going to send some emails out with their information tonight. So we're going to apply pressure to those people. He plays intro for an hour, child. You better get him another intro, like really, because that one like keeps playing over and over. I'm like, woo, child. I'm getting dizzy. He need another intro. Now it's okay if you got that intro like and you play it 1 or 2 times, but you playing that thing back to back for 20 times, you don't have everybody here fainting and dizzy, child. But when you catch a replay, you can just skip ahead like 30 minutes. But when you actually sitting there waiting, child, you better turn that volume down. Danny, I have a tip for the FBI. I called last night, but the officer that answered, I am not sure if I called the correct location. If you could hear this information and see if it's important or not. Are you talking about the number I posted on the petition? What number did you call? Oh, you said for a tip? Now, what kind of tip? Now, because the LPI, when they say tip, that means that you got some evidence. It's not like I got a suggestion or advice for you. It means like you got evidence, like key evidence that's important for them. You have evidence of something with Shanquella or something that can be used, like incriminated evidence that can help with the case. If you actually have a tip like, I want y'all to do this, or maybe y'all should do that, or something like that, that's not what it's for. That's not what the tip line is for. So the people that will actually have a tip is anybody that is associated with Cabo 6 and they gave you information or sent you something and you have a tip. People, the maid, anybody at the villa that knows anything about the case. If you know anything about the case and you were there or you knew someone was there and they gave you information or you kind of associated or some kind of affiliation, that's a tip. If you are just a subscriber or person online and you think you know something, but it's just you're an outsider viewer and everything else, then that's not a tip or evidence they could really use, should I say. Now, as far as me, like, if you have something you suggest, I already gave emails for suggestions. Like if you have, I'm going to actually suggest this provisional arrest, requesting this, or say if it has been done or not, applied for or attempted. So that's going to be my email, but I'm not going to actually call the FBI tip line like I have an official tip or some kind of information. Now, one time I did email the FBI, and that was only to give them pictures that Gerardo posted, and that's because I asked him, is he going to submit the pictures? He went online, he posted those pictures of Shanquella, and I said, are you going to submit those to the FBI? He said he's going to go to State Attorney De La Rosa Anaya. He's going to submit it to Daniel De La Rosa Anaya, and then Anaya will actually submit it to the FBI once he gets it. So I said, let's skip all that red tape and all that, all what you're saying. And I hurry up and I sent the video link to the FBI. Now that will be that is evidence because that is Shanquella in that picture. And he said he was going to go send it to De La Rosa Anaya, and then it was eventually get to FBI. But I'm like, why eventually? I'd rather get there now, like get there ASAP. So as soon as I emailed, she did email back. So it got there faster, right, through that process. That's the only time I emailed like that. But even then, I didn't call a tip line. I emailed the email address I put on this petition, right? But yeah, if you look at the petition, now I've put it right here along. I actually have the number right here for the FBI Charlotte location. It's right here that I'm highlighting, okay? And remember, that's to demand justice for Shanquella, okay? And then I have the general email address right here for them too. And I also have the one for the spokesperson. I keep forgetting her name. Shelly Lynch. I called her Shelby yesterday and then Sylvia the next day. I'm sorry. Child, it's too many names to keep up with. Okay, Shelly Lynch is the one from the FBI that I had emailed, and her email is on here too. But make sure you're only emailing things that's about demanding justice and also important and also no crazy stuff, okay? These are official people. You don't want to get yourself in trouble. Okay, so let's go ahead. Thank you for sharing my information, Tribal. Okay, so let's see. Okay, y'all. So I caught up with some comments. If I skip up your comment, it's not on purpose, but I do have to get out of here. To all the beautiful subscribers for Two-Tail Danny, make sure you hit that the top button for all, and you will be notified when Danny go live. Hope that can help. Yeah, so make sure you hit the all, set your notifications to all my lives, so you will be able to hear all of them. All right, bye y'all. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out, and I will see y'all in the next live. My next live is mostly going to be, I am going to call Victor Castro. Most likely I would do like, let's see. My next live will be a split live. It will be like where I make calls for Shanquella, and then I'm gonna make a part 2 of the same live. I'm gonna split it, and I'm also gonna make calls for Jaylen Lewis. Actually, I might do it separate. I'll decide because it's Wednesday, so I'll decide what I'll do. So, anyways, bye. Have a great day.